Oh, I don't know if that reset it, but we'll see. Hi Zero, hi Vinny, hi Tony, hi Chewy, hi. We will be learning Blender today. But I'm eating first. um. Okay, so let me pin a message. At the half-hour mark, we will start. Oh, D-Man, thank you. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted. Hi. After hitting me with a metal pipe twice. Thank you, sweetheart. Just a second. I kind of rushed a little bit because I was working on something on the side. God damn it. Wherever not. There we go. Come to people some time to join. Okay, there we go. It got rid of my pinned message because of me restarting the stream. Anyway, so I have my food. I'm gonna wait half an hour for people to join in. And at the half an hour mark, we will start and I'll go over like what is Blender, how to do it, and blah blah blah. You know, that kind of stuff. But for now, I want to eat my food because my food was ready at a really awkward time. Hey Corey. Let's see. I want to watch something in the meantime, so I can, you know, properly eat. Sure, let's watch this. Good morning, Alex.
And we're back with a killer guest today, the fearsome, the infamous, the one and only Luigi.
Thanks. Great to be here.
You know, I'm surprised they let you out already. Good behavior goes far behind bars, huh?
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't be so modest. Everyone knows you get hard time for, I think the technical term is CEO aside?
Oh, no. I'm not that Luigi. That's a totally different guy.
I've seen a ton of memes with your exact face, bro. You're pretty much Assassination Pepe.
I've already made a statement through my lawyer about this. I do not condone any of what he did or did not do. We just have the same name, like Mario Andretti, Daisy Ridley, or Waluigi Kardashian. It's just a coincidence.
Wow, that's wild, man. How unlucky is that? Like, imagine if Diddy Kong over there was just minding his own business for decades, and bam, some other guy named Diddy got arrested for some kind of super serious crime, and the name Diddy was tainted forever, and everyone would always associate Diddy with that other guy? That'd be nuts, right, Diddy?
He doesn't know, and don't bother telling him. He gets all his news from looking at other drivers' phones on the freeway.
I see.
Whoa! Is that some kind of monster robo-keg? I knew you played minigames, but I didn't know you partied. Know what I mean?
Oh, this? This is the Poltergust 5000. It sucks up ghosts and traps them in this here doohickey.
Oh. So it's just Ghostbusters merch?
Well, it is kind of derivative, but it's real and it does the job.
But wait, that's just a movie. Ghosts don't actually exist, so like, is this a cosplay?
What are you talking about? Of course ghosts exist.
Come on, bro. I could buy a lot of far-out conspiracy theories, like MK Ultra, thermodynamics, or like reindeer.
All of those are real things.
But ghosts? No way, man. Next thing you'll tell me is that Bill Murray's a real person walking among us, and vaccines don't cause chlamydia.
Wait. We race the go-karts against King Boo all the time. That's a ghost right there.
What the hell are you talking about? King Boo is my man. We go way back. He was a pallbearer at my grandma's funeral. Just a super solid dude, though I guess also a little bit see-through. But that doesn't mean he's a ghost.
Didn't you ever notice that King Boo just floats around with a little wiggly tail and no legs?
Whoa there. I normally don't care about this sort of thing, but that sounded kind of legsist, dude.
That's not what I meant.
Look, we've all got our demons, and they manifest in different ways for everyone. You see everything as a threat, so it helps you to carry around a souped-up Hoover to suck off the ghosts that are causing you trouble. Me, on the other hand, I always wear a tie because I'm pretty sure if I ever remove it, my head will fall off. We've all got something, you know?
No, but really, I'm telling you, ghosts are real and they are everywhere. I just captured one that was
Yeah, I'm
floating
pretty
outside
good
the
at seeing.
studio.
Donkey dearie, it's your grandma Wrinkly Kong. Would you be so nice as to let me out of this cramped little container?
You know this lady?
Not ringing any bells.
Pretty sure that actually is your grandma, dude.
See?
Yeah, I'm not buying it. My real Mima couldn't fit in a rig like that. Plus, there's no stench of cabbage dominating the room, so I'm pretty sure that's not her.
You stupid little shit! I should have dropped you more when you were a baby! I curse you with every fiber of my fucking soul! You will never know peace, you 8-foot skid mark! I will make sure you suffer!
Well, she seemed like...
Wow, you really are jumpy, aren't you?
Hey, God.
Your natural state is like trembling and or cowering. What's the deal there? Why are you so scared all the time?
You would be jumpy too if your every waking minute was a nightmare. Everyone just expects you to instantly risk falling in hot lava or disintegrating in poisoned swamp water on your way to help them, like it's a no big deal. The only break I get is when someone asks me to be on my 87th sports team. My life is... I will just say it. Heck.
I don't know, man. I think you're just looking at things the wrong way. Way I hear it, you're constantly being bequeathed mansions and stuff. Get some paint and some IKEA cabinets, and you can blow out those into a zillion apartments. Then flip it and use the money to renovate your haunted hotel or whatever. People always need housing because it's like a basic need or whatever, and since they don't want to die on the street, you can gouge them for everything they have. That's just economics 101, dude. Literally free real estate.
Yeah, but that real estate is infested with nasty spirits, and I have to go around cleaning it up by imprisoning their immortal souls for eternity in some gizmo. One time I had to defeat a baby ghost. I cannot
Jeez.
even begin to list the
Dog,
ways that
thank
was
you for the
messed up.
follow.
Okay, yeah, but have you tried, like, I don't know, not being bothered by that stuff?
Oh, like nothing gets under your skin, huh? Don't you have an imagination?
You mean like head pictures? Nah, dog. Seeing stuff with your mind is for the weak. If you want raw,
Hey, Godzilla.
unfiltered reality, you have to look at stuff with your eyes. They're like the brain of the face.
So that's it? There's nothing you're afraid of?
I'll tell you what I'm afraid of. The unyielding maw of time. No matter what you do, how many bananas you hoard, how many reptile spines you crush, you will die. And then the people you leave behind will die. And eventually all of your greatest accomplishments will erode from the universe's memory. Like a footprint disappearing under a sand dune, like you never existed. Meaning that every step you take on this earth is a part of a futile march into an inescapable oblivion. That and the creepy mask from Mario 2. Never should have had that guy in the show. So, I hear you're originally from something called Doki Doki Panic. Well, I'm gonna head out. Whoop, gotta grab the keys.
I always let Mario be the one to grab the key.
Yo, that reminds me. I saw Mario's Lambo parked down the block. You want to put an upper decker in the gas tank?
Is an upper decker a bad thing?
Oh, yeah.
Okie dokie. Let's do it.
I see. So, I was eating. I'm now done eating. I'm gonna wait until the half an hour mark for people to get here before we start with the tutorial. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna, I guess, keep watching. Yeah, until people get here. Hey Godzilla, hi Sherb, hi. Hello. Bah. I do have Blender open already. I'll be going over everything in a little bit. So if you want to learn how to use it, I don't know, grab some popcorn, grab a drink, you know, get ready. Because... Oh, you guys will be able to ask me questions, by the way. And this is Blender version 3.0, not 4.0. I haven't done that yet. I think I should be good. This is the safer work version. If something happens, I'm ending stream, deleting the VOD, etc., etc. But I think I should be good. No worry, man. What should we watch? Ba 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 ba. Hello, Nova. You don't have to at me. I can see what you're typing. A lot of fun uploaded something new. Sure.
My entire life, I never had a real say about any of it. All I have left is how I choose to approach this. DEA took all your money, your lab, but you know the business, and I know the chemistry.
You want to cook crystal meth?
It's just
get it now.
one-to-one, like...
You want to make some cash for your people before you check out.
You got a problem with that?
I'm your partner, man. You should have told me.
It is the purest, most chemically sound product on the market.
The fucking pizza. Oh my fucking god.
Never talk back to your mom and dad when you are mad. Never talk back to your mom and dad when you are mad. Never be rude and disrespectful. Never break rules, then get forgetful. Never throw a tantrum on the floor. Never shout at them and slam the door. Cause that's how you get grounded. Never cheat off some other kid's test when you're in school. Never cheat off some other kid's test when you're in school. Never get the answer from a friend. Never sneaking notes written on your hand. Never let your eyes begin to wander from your paper to another. Cause that's how you get sent to the principal.
I see. So stupid.
Never take cough syrup and mix it up with iodine and lie.
Wait, off?
Never take cough syrup and mix it up with iodine and lie. Never take the strike pads off a matchbook or go to a hardware store and then look near paint thinners from your electric ass. Never go bring hot into a rapid boil or get hydrogen peroxide. Or go to a farming store and then buy pH strips and PVC pipes. Those fuel cans that make outdoor grills. Cause that's how you make crystal meth.
Of course.
Shop.
Hey yo, it's me, King Ramses. I need you to run me my slab. Run me my slab. Return my slab. I've sent you 3 fucking plays.
Okay.
What is it gonna take to get my slab back, okay? I want my things, and then I'll go. I want my things, and then I'll go. Got me out here wearing my good robe. Disgusting. And what the hell is that little dog gonna do? Courage? I'm gonna kick him like a football.
Why is he so sassy?
Just watch. Just watch, boo-boo. I'm gonna be back. And if you ain't got my slab, I'm gonna have something for that ass.
Ow! Oh! Oh! Oh, shit, dude.
Oh my fucking god.
Oh my god!
Gato. The fuck was that?
Oh, this is from Schedule 1. Oh, what's that? Oh. Oh. Oh my.
Oh, thank you. Here. Trade.
Oh, okay.
That must be that new granddaddy cook.
Yeah.
Whoa, what the?
I'm sorry. I thought it was Viagra. I didn't mean
the
that.
hell? I'm cool.
What the
I'm
fuck?
Actually, Kara, stop. No, turn around, Kara.
Hey. You here?
Oh, what the fuck?
Never talk back to your mom and dad when you are mad. Never talk back to your mom and dad when you are mad. Never Never be rude and disrespectful. Never break rules, then get forgetful. Never throw a tantrum on the floor. Never shout at them and slam the door. Cause that's how you get grounded. Never cheat off some other kids' tests when you're in school. Never cheat off some other kids' tests when you're in school. Never get the answer from a friend. Never sneaking notes written on your hand. Never let your eye begin to wander from your paper to another. Cause that's how you get sent to the principal. Never take cough syrup and mix it up with iodine and lye. Never take cough syrup and mix it up with iodine and lye.
Oh no.
Never take the strike pads off a matchbook or go to a hardware store and then look near paint thinners from your trick ass. Never go bring a pot into a rapid boil or get hydrogen peroxide. Never go to a farming store and then buy pH strips and PVC pipes. Those fuel cans that make outdoor grills like that's how you make crystal meth.
God damn it.
Videos of people doing that.
Oh. You just knew. Yeah, you just knew.
I ever heard. You stole my heart when it first occurred. I can't let you run out that door, 'cause I just gotta hear you scream some more.
Oh my goodness.
You got the prettiest scream I ever heard. You got the prettiest scream I ever heard.
What's it from?
Oh no, nightmares. Oh, suffer my curse.
Oh god, I don't have a ladder.
You will be visited by 3 plagues.
What the fuck is Wi-Fi in? Hold on.
Return the slab.
What? Why is it Dalek in it?
Store, I swear to God, that is gonna be the worst.
Is that?
Flint and steel.
God damn it.
Dick and jockey. I am Steve.
I hate it so much.
I am placing blocks and shit because this is fucking Minecraft.
God damn it, dude.
Ender pearl, the nether.
Yep.
Minecraft, the movie, water bucket, Raleigh.
I have no fucking clue, dude.
Watch the Minecraft movie. Simply buy a ticket and view it.
Okay.
Anything you want to build, do it. Craft some shit up with a crafting table.
Bro, Jesus Christ.
Flint and steel.
Why is it so lively to have it? I don't like it.
I'm Steve.
Okay. Wow.
Amazing, thank you.
I want to go over there. I'm giving you an option to come with me.
Goosh!
Oh, well, there they go.
Oh, look at him go.
It's the slowest drop I've seen.
What the hell?
Wait.
Europeans, what's up? Not a balloon. It's a rock. Whoa, whoa! What do you feel around my pockets for?
Why nothing?
Oh, I bet you noticed there's a hole in my pocket, didn't you?
Why is he sniffing it?
Thank you.
Why does it smell like a hot bunch of maple syrup?
Oh my god.
Boo.
You got the prettiest scream I ever heard.
God damn it, dude.
Hey, yo, it's me, King Ramses. I need you to run me my slab. Run me my slab. Return my slab. I've sent you 3 complaints. What is it gonna take to get my slab back? Okay. I want
This
my
is like a
things,
pozo.
and then I'll go. I want my things, and then I'll go. Got me out here wearing my good robe. Disgusting. And what the hell is that little dog gonna do? Courage? I'm gonna kick him like a football.
Oh, you got it.
Just watch. Just watch that. I'm gonna be back.
Oh, yeah, you go.
You got my stuff.
Yeah, you go, girl.
Actually, that place makes sense to summon something in. It's like a cellar or whatever. Dungeon.
Oh, there it is. Oh. Oh, God. It's the... Oh, no. That thing. Yes. Praise Repo. Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Never talk back to your mom and dad when you're mad. Never talk back to your mom and dad when you're mad.
Well, I like that one
Never
too.
be rude
It's so
and
cute.
disrespectful. Never break rules, then get forgetful. Never throw a tantrum on the floor. Never shout at them and slam the door. Cause that's how you get grounded.
Yeah, true.
Never cheat off some other kid's test when you're in school. Never cheat off some other kid's test when you're in school. Never get the answer from a friend. Never sneak in notes written on your hand. Never let your eyes begin to wander from your paper to another. Cause that's how you get sent to the principal. Never take cough syrup and mix it up with iodine and lie. Never take cough syrup and mix it up with iodine and lie. Never take the strike pads off a matchbook or go to a hardware store and then look near paint thinners from your trick ass. Never go bring a pot into a rapid boil or get hydrogen peroxide. Never go to a farming store and then buy
Hey, Nuber.
strips and PVC for those fuel cans that make outdoor grills. Cause that's how you make crystal.
You've been playing Schedule 1.
No.
Oh my god.
Just try it.
Nay. What? Does that also happen in Schedule 1? What the fuck?
You're not gonna say anything? You're just gonna take a fat whip and you just walk off and leave?
Oh, come
Hi, Poke.
Gross.
Mother.
Return to slab.
Oh, they turned the slab.
Oh.
Made the mistake of wearing my brand new Hoochie Daddy shorts today. And I've been catcalled 17 times. Like, hey boy, what's that pee-pee do? I don't know. It's small. Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
I was bored and kinda horny, figured I'd pick up a book. Found the Necronomicon, thought that I should take a look. I did the chants and did the dance, and much to my surprise, I found an ancient deity with tentacles and glowing eyes. He
Oh
poured
my
some wine and said,
fucking
let's
god,
have
dude.
some fun. But now Cthulhu knows why they call me the Deep One. I Cthulhu good. I thought I'd have some cosmic horror. Turns out I'm a cosmic whore. I Cthulhu good.
Shorty face.
No cat,
We can
no
start
fish
after this video.
sacrificed. His only thing getting buried here was wood.
You know what?
Jesus.
You got the prettiest scream I ever
God damn it, dude.
heard.
Hi, Gail.
You stole my heart when it
Hiya,
first
by the way.
occurred. I can't let you run out that door, 'cause I just gotta hear
You scream some more.
You got the prettiest scream I ever heard.
I forgot I was in VR. I had a moment.
You're not looking to the bucket.
Okay. You stand there. You stand there. Happy, happy, happy. I give him a fish. You wanna
Fish.
you wanna eat big rod?
Eat him. Eat him. Yeah, we're making soup like that.
Never take cough syrup and mix it up with iodine and lye. I don't. Never take cough syrup and mix it up with iodine and lye. That's a good idea. No. Never take the strike pads off a matchbook or go to a hardware store and then look near paint thinners from your trick ass. Never go bring a pot into a rapid boil or get hydrogen peroxide. The timer scared me. And then buy pH strips and PVC. Those fuel cans that make outdoor grills like that. How you make crystal meth.
Yay!
Yay, schedule one.
That one wants it.
You're out past your bedtime, mister.
You knocked on my door.
There's a curfew in this.
You knocked on my door.
You think he wants to get in trouble? Oh, okay, that's where he left it. Oh wait, I've been in that well before.
No. No, please brutality.
God damn it.
Police brutality.
Cheese. Thank you for the follow. Uwu taught me daddy. Yeah, thank you for the follow. Alright, that was Lolafon's latest video. We're pretty much at a half an hour mark now, so we can probably go. Flint and steel, chicken jockey, I am Steve. Alright. So in about 5 minutes, I'll start explaining the basics of Blender. How do I delete the Blender cube?
Hey, wanna know a secret? 3.
I will also show that, and sure, yeah, go for it. Unbaked flopper. What? This is just the project. My default project. Not the one that I usually work on, because I had to delete some stuff, but yeah. Alright, so, this is everything. This is gonna be everything I know. This is gonna be everything that I think is important. This is gonna be everything that I think you would want to know when you start learning Blender. Yeah. One thing that I think I forgot to do is change the resolution to be higher. That way you guys are able to see the buttons, etc. So give me 1 second, let me see. Video. No, it is set to base canvas resolution. Okay, so the output is
chicken sandwich.
I'll just call things out, I think. It's not gonna matter that much. Alright. So the main reason why I am doing this is I know a lot of people that play VR chat. I know a lot of people that also don't play VR chat that want to have their own model. One of the main reasons why I think it's important to be able to do stuff in Blender yourself. It doesn't even have to be an avatar from scratch. Like that's way past my my pay grade to try to teach you guys. But it is very nice to be able to, if you see there's something wrong with your model, to be able to change that. Even if it takes a little bit, even just like having a baseline of knowledge about what makes an avatar work is going to give you context and the ability to be able to start editing things yourself. So, hence why I want to get over it. We had a bad anxiety attack not long ago. That's good, GD. Hi, Chimpy. Hello. I'm gonna be trying to teach people how to use Blender today, as much as I can. Or the limited knowledge that I do have that allowed me to sculpt a big butt will allow you to be able to apply it to your own models. Right, so let's see. First of all, I think I don't know for sure if I want to work on this one or not. I'm not. Yeah, I'll just do it. Okay, so right, is it half an hour? Okay, no, we have 3 more minutes. We have 3 more minutes. I'm waiting for people to be here so they can start taking notes and or rewatch the VOD if they want to. Also, what do you mean, you Blender? Don't you use it like almost every day? Or unless you use a different program, I don't know. But otherwise, I'm pretty much ready to go. We should probably start with a new project. Yeah. This is the Blender cube. This is what you're first going to see in Blender. It's a way nicer program to use compared to Unity. Yeah, they're both for different things, but yeah. Hi, Echo. We have 2 minutes left. Then I'll start. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask me. If you just want to wait and see and let me yap at you, that's fine too. This will be the default thing that you will see. I am currently still on Blender 3.0, so that is the version that I will be using. Generally speaking, how avatars are made aren't going to be different, but the layouts might be slightly different, and maybe the shortcut keys or whatever might be different too. Depends. This actually gives me, hold on, a little bit of extra time to tie up my hair, because my hair's getting in the way. There it is. All hail the cube. This is like the first thing that people usually delete. Okay. 1 minute, I think. Yeah. Right. Let's see. I'm going to quickly see if I can import an avatar. Like a default, like, I don't know, Hopkin avatar. Because that's kind of how I learned, right? I am Steve. Chicken jockey. Assets, Arcane Twilights. There we go. Okay, so that is here. Nice. That way I know for sure that I don't have anything suspicious on there, but I'll show you when we get there. Okay. There we go. So, the donut tutorial isn't going to go over the things that you need to keep in. Like it goes over everything that you can do, but it doesn't go over like things that should be give you priority over other things. At least so I've heard. I've never actually used it myself. So, all right. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Blender tutorial. This is for Blender 3.0. Generally speaking, things will be applicable to other versions of Blender as well. I'm going to go over every single thing that I know, that I use, that makes an avatar work. Now, when you open Blender for the first time, you'll be greeted by this. You'll be greeted by one camera, one light source, and a cube. Typically what people do is they just click, drag, and delete everything. That's what you can do in order to have a blank scene. Now, the first time you're going to be in Blender, more likely than not, will be because you want to edit a existing model. Most people do not start off with a complete blank canvas. They have something that they can relate to and something that they can visualize, like a good example of something that works. one of the things that I used at the start is the hopkin. This is the hopkin. Very, very plain, very simple hopkin, right? One thing that you will probably notice when you import models, right off the bat, is that if it comes from Unity or even just an FVX file itself, what Blender likes to do for some fucking reason is add extra empty leaf bones on this. So that's why these are sticking out a little bit. These are like the bones that allow you to control. I'm going to quickly see if I can... Hold up. I'm going to get rid of these leaf bones because I forgot about those. Okay. Right. Just a second, chat. You don't have to pay attention to this at the moment. It's just this will make things a lot cleaner later on. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. I did actually have a butt bone. Didn't know. It's been a while since I've used the regular hopkin too, so for me it's been ages since I've seen this one. Also, are those the eye bones? They are. That's interesting. Okay, so more likely than not, the first time that you open Blender, you'll see that cube, and then you'll want to go to File, Import, and then FBX, and then select the file or the model that you want to import to be able to start editing that model. Now, a couple of things I'm going to go over first. Things that are very, very important if you want to navigate Blender is in the top left here. You should be able to see a menu here. You'll see like these sidebars. One of the things I would highly, highly recommend is to go to the third tab of this sidebar and then go to View Lock, open that up if it isn't, and then Lock to 3D Cursor. What this is going to do is it will allow you to hold Shift, right-click somewhere on your avatar, and set that as an anchor point to where you can start rotating or viewing things from. In order to rotate around, you hold middle mouse button. And if you've done it successfully, it will rotate next to this. If you haven't, then it will just kind of float in midair. There are ways to navigate differently than this, but I found this to be the easiest. Same thing with here. If you want to do some detail work, you can just simply zoom in, scroll out. Very easy. If you want to move around, instead of just middle mouse click, you do Shift middle mouse click. And yeah, Shift right click will allow you to put the anchor point somewhere new. This is very important because a lot of people have trouble trying to do detailed work because they can't control their camera very well. This will at least allow you to be able to navigate in the 3D space easier. So that is going to give you a lot less headache in the future. Hopkin, yes, for Fizzbone I found the leaf base are actually good because the Fizzbone. Yes, but you can also simply just add a virtual leaf bone in Unity itself, Kaya, so it's never necessary to keep them. Make sure to hide this. I want people to see it, Nightwolf. The end set is components. There's different ways to do it, and I'll go over that too if you guys want to, but it's a bit more advanced. So first of all, you have to ask yourself, what is an avatar? And I know this is going to sound stupidly basic, but in essence, in order to make any avatar do anything, or any object do anything, it is required for that object to first of all exist. So let's do that first. So say for example, I have a cube like this. Very simple. Hey Lucy. So I have a cube. I'm going to actually put, I was gonna say torrent. I'm gonna put the hopkin right here for now. So we have a cube. This is called a mesh. A mesh is very important because that will be the avatar base. In order to make this move, like this, for example, let me show you. It needs a armature modifier. Now, what does that mean? You have the object right here. You want to go to the right. In this bar right here to the right, you'll see a wrench icon. Click on that icon, then open up the modifiers. And under deform, you'll see an armature modifier. This will allow you to select a skeleton as your armature modifier. Currently, we don't have any bones whatsoever. We have the ones from the Hopkin, and we have the ones from the well, that's it. We just have that. So in order to add a bone, in order to start moving the object, you need to go over here, go to Armature, and add a single bone. If you want your bones to be visible on top of the avatar like this, you can go to the selections here, go to Viewport Display, so the object data properties, which, oh, I completely forgot. Sorry. There are different modes which allow you to control things in Blender. Currently, we are in object mode. If we are in object mode, it allows us to displace things if we want to, but that is with the entire object. There will be a VOD for this, yes, don't worry. In the top left corner, you'll see Edit Mode. If you select that, it will allow you to view all the edges, vertices, and faces. Now, what are edges, vertices, and faces? This point right here, where all of these edges line up, this is called a vertex. This is basically a singular, infinitely small point. This connection between them is called an edge. And then the large section here is called a face. These are things that are always the same, no matter what objects that you use. For example, here you can see these are all squares. Or I think the vast majority of them are all squares. So this is essentially comprised up of thousands and thousands of faces. The more faces, or the more polys that we'll have, the heavier your object is going to be. Mao, thank you for the follow. So, now we only need to worry currently about object modes, edit modes, but you will see that there are also all different modes here. We will return to that later. But if you want to switch from one object to another, like say for example you're stuck in here or whatever, and you want to select the blush or whatever, you need to go back to object mode first to then be able to click on this and then edit it that way. Otherwise it's not going to work. It's a little bit of a hassle to figure out first. So, we have a cube and we have a bone. We can barely see the bone, but if we look inside, you can see it's right here. In order to view your bones in a more logical sense, it is best to go to right here where the green guy is, the object data properties, and change this to whatever you want. I usually like to just put it on stick so it takes up the least amount of screen space, and then in front. And a bone is simply just almost exactly the same as an edge. They can be viewed in different ways. This will allow you to see what the head is of the bone, which is the starting point, and the tail of the bone. Rotating this bone will always rotate it on its head. Like that. Which is important to keep in mind. But for now, we don't need that. So, in order to assign this cube to this bone, we need to, like I said, add a armature modifier, which we have done. But now we also need to select which armature it needs to be modified to, or deformed to. And there you go. Now this cube is set to Armature 1. Relatively simple, but you can now see if I go to the armature, go in pose mode, and start posing it, it's not going to actually move. So you might think, oh, you must have done something wrong. No, not at all. In order for the cube to know where or what area of the cube should be deformed by the bone, it needs to be way painted to that bone. Now, it's a lot of terminology, and ignore what I'm doing right now because this is just going to make things a little bit more obvious in a second. So just ignore this for now. I subdivided the cube a little bit. Actually, I can just do it in a different way as well. I could just select everything. If you want to select everything in a object, like all of the pixels instead of individually selecting them like this, you can simply just press A, and then it will select L. Very, very useful. While making stuff, we want to always prefer making squares. I'll get to that. I'll get to that, Kaya. Don't worry. So we need to assign this bone to the cube. If we want to add a bit more polys to it, we can simply right-click after we select everything and subdivide it. That way, this will allow me to show something else, but it's still a cube regardless, so don't worry about it. We want to go to the green triangle, the object data properties, like this. And you'll see a whole bunch of different tabs now. The ones you're primarily going to have to be concerned with are the vertex groups and the shape keys. The shape keys we'll get to later, but for now, all we need is the vertex groups. Now, what is a vertex group? We can make one like this by pressing the plus icon on the right here, and that will make you your first vertex group. A vertex group is essentially just how many vertexes you have selected to be in that group, and if that vertex group is the same name as one of the bones on your armature. So in this case, that would be literally just called bone. Let's see. So we want to call this maybe cube instead. Now this bone is assigned to armature 0.001 and it's called cube. So we need to make sure that in the vertex groups, this is also called cube, because otherwise it will not recognize it. It needs to be exactly the same name. If there's a capital or a different number, it won't recognize it. Now, all we need to do is actually weight paint that specific vertex group. Also, another thing that I want to show before I continue is in the top right of your screen, you'll see different shading options, like here. You'll see these four balls. This will be the simplest, usually, for weight painting, because this will allow you to simply see fairly easily what you have weight painted. Because if you have a texture, for example, like this one, it's a bit scuffed, so don't worry about that right now. But you try to weight paint, it might end up looking like you have something more or less weight painted that you may not want to. So, what you want to do instead is select any of the other ones. I would recommend the one with the wireframe, which, if you don't know, like, this is also a wireframe. It's just, you know, like the blocks and stuff. So now we need to start weight painting what we actually want to move with the cube. So, to make our life easier, we could just go to the top left, go to draw, if you haven't selected that. If you click on this little icon, you'll see different things that you can do. Different types of weight painting you can do. We can make our radius bigger, like this, or smaller, like this, by just typing it in this bar right here, and then just start weight painting. And just as an example, I'm going to show what happens if I weight paint one side, and then don't weight paint another. So, now the only thing that is currently weight painted on the armature from the cube is the top side. What that will do is if we then go to object mode first, so we're out of every menu and such. If you click here, you can also toggle transparency. That can be useful. Transparency doesn't unfortunately work in weight painting, but that's another story. And now we can test out our weight painting. We can tell here. Hold on, just a second. We can tell here. The vertex group is cube. Under armature, the bone name is also cube. So the vertex group and the bone name need to be exactly the same. And then in order to try it out, you just click on it. You go to pose mode. You select a bone you want to try. And then you rotate it. And as you can see, I got a little bit of weight paint here as well. Only the top side of the cube moves. Let me go do this. It might be easier to see. Only the top side of the cube moves. Hold on, let me do something real quick. Let me... So there is a little bit of weight painting on this side right here, which caused that to move. I don't remember... Hold on, how do I... Oh, there we go. Okay, so I would recommend as well if you start to weight paint first, you can go next to the shading options to the overlays, and you can select a different like base, I guess, for this, like the weight paint base. And then you can just select what is active and what isn't. I personally like using that instead of the other thing, because otherwise I would always show up as blue, which might not always be what you want. We can tell here there's also a little bit here, so sometimes a bit difficult to do. If we were to, for example, do all of this, like weight paint all of it, like this, just everywhere has weight painting on it, and then go to pose mode, then it will start rotating the entire thing. So fairly simple. Now you guys know how to place an object or how to import an avatar, what is required to make that avatar move, which is a modifier, an armature modifier. It's an actual modifier positioned correctly in relation to the mesh of the avatar. So if, for example, I were to put the bone right here outside of the cube and then try to start to rotate it, it will rotate around that bone. So the bone is always expected to be in the center of whatever it is controlling. Same thing with, hold on. Same thing with if I do it here, we'll start to notice that it will rotate as if the bone is sort of extended. See? So if I were to rotate that, it does that. And that's very important to know, because, for example, when I was working on the cake for my Flopkin, I wanted the endpoint not to stick out like it does right here, but be at the center of the mass of what I am controlling. So preferably, this would actually have to be, let's see, if we go to view here, we can see the location of what we have selected. I want this to be, I think, wait, can I move this? Oh no, that's my cursor. Whoops, my bad. Can I? I'm trying to see, there was a way to see the properties of this. It's not changing here. Is it here? Oh, it is here. Okay. I want this to be lowered. I guess that's -1. And then this to be in the center, so that would be -1. No. Oh, it's this. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to show you something. So when you're placing down bones like this, and I know that this isn't particularly the most interesting part, but it has saved me a lot of like mental strain. I want to find the exact center point of these vertices, and I can do that by first selecting them in edit mode, so make sure you're on edit mode, then Shift S, and then cursor to selected. it will try to find the center point of whatever it is that you have selected. So, if I do, for example, this, and then do the cursor to select it, and there you go. Same thing with, for example, the Hopkin. If I want to, I don't know, add thigh highs or whatever, but I want to position a bone in a specific way, I can select this edge loop by pressing Shift, Alt, and then clicking on an edge like that. So Shift, Alt, and then you will select an entire edge loop. That can be very helpful, but it isn't a requirement. You can also just manually select them like this. It just takes a little bit longer. Also, if you have something selected like this, and you want to start selecting more things like that, you can tell every time that I click, it takes care of the other thing, gets rid of it. So, holding Shift will allow you to just, select more, and holding Control will allow you to get rid of more. So, if I want to find a center point of this, I can do Shift S and then cursor to select it. Then I can use this selection, because this is the center point of mass for this edge loop, to position my bones correctly. I can do the same here with our example cube by Shift Alt clicking here, and then Shift Alt clicking here. Then Shift S, cursor to selected, so I'm in the center. And then simply doing selecting the endpoint of the bone that I want, keeping the cursor where I positioned it, and then Shift S again, but now selection to cursor, and then it will clip that to where I have selected it. The reason you want the endpoint of the bone to be at the center of the mass is because everything else will rotate around the endpoint of the bone, like this. Because we are working with a static object, it will not matter that much. It does not have two waypaint groups, or two vertex groups, I mean, for it to matter. However, what we can do is, instead of the thing that we just did, let me go to here, select the top part right here, then select the center of it by Shift S and then downward, cursor to selected. Then going back into object mode, clicking on the bone, going to edit mode, and then clipping that to the top. Then we can select the bone, right click, and then subdivide it. The little menu behind me, like I don't know if you can see it, but it appeared behind me, allows you to select how many bones you want there to be controlled. So logically, we would want something like 3, because we have 3 edge loops. So this makes the most sense. Also, hi Julian, and hi Nero. So you'll start to see, if you try to click on a cube again to go to, for example, the waypaint mode, you will see that currently, since we have cube, just cube selected as a vertex group, that's it. We need to still add the other vertex groups in order to start waypainting them. So, if you look in your armature now, you notice that the 2 other cube, hold on, the names are kind of scuffed. I'll just do this for a second. The 2 other cube bones that we made were now put in the hierarchy of where they need to be. So, now we need to add both of those groups to the vertex groups in order to start waypainting them. So, cube 1, boom, here. Cube 2, boom, here. They need to be named exactly the same in order for them to be able to start moving. So then we just select the second group, like this, and then we can start waypainting. A neat trick that I use a lot during waypainting is if you press Alt and then click, you notice a gradient starts appearing from where you point. This could be very, very, very useful later on. For now, it's not super necessary. Like, you can just manually waypaint this. This isn't gonna, like, that's not gonna go anywhere. but it does save you some time. Yeah, usually I just do this. Let's see, I think since we're talking about or trying to use the middle bone, it makes the most sense that the middle bone here has the weight painting the strongest where it is surrounded by its mesh. We can do the same thing with subtract. You just alt click and boom. And then this middle bone, cube 01, this right here. I think it's still that one, right? Yeah, that one. Now we'll have the weight paint the strongest at the middle layer of the cube. Same thing here. We just want to do the same thing for the last bone. And then we need to go to the other group that we made, so cube 002. Go to add, and boom. I think normally it should be something like this. The more gradient there is, the smoother the transition between the two is going to be. Now, as you can see, we still have complete weight painting on one of the bones. That's not what we want, because now it will start affecting the things that aren't directly connected to it, which will cause some weird behavior if I start posing it. For example, like this. You notice that the bones are moving further than the actual meshes. That is due to the fact that the weight painting of the bottom side of the cube is still affecting the top side. So in essence, this top side is only is being affected by the top bone by 50% because they both have 100%. So it just averages that out to be 50. So what we want to do here, same thing, subtract, and get rid of the weight painting that we don't need. Now we have a cube, which is properly weight painted. Oh wait, that's in edit mode, whoops. So the sort of the base bone or the parent bone of all the other bones, no matter what you do, will always affect all of the other bones. With, for example, the Hopkin, the base parent bone is always going to be the hip. If you move the hip, everything else moves. But if I move this one, only the top side moves. Because everything is parented to the hip bone. So, with the cube here, we can do a couple of tests. This seems fine. It's like an accordion. And that seems fine. Obviously, this is not meant to be a very dynamic shape. It is just a cube. But you can tell that because of the gradients with everything that we have, it is moving kind of as it's supposed to. So, now we have an object, a mesh. It has topology. It has a bone structure. And it has a modifier to be able to start moving it. Hold on. Why hip and not chest, or is that just the case for the Hopkin? And is it up for the creator to decide? As far as I've seen, and I'm not 100% sure on this, it has always been the hip bone. And this might have to do with how Unity detects what bone is assigned to what. We can get to that later as well. But this is just sort of a proof of concept of what is required to be able to start working on something. So that's why, like, the whole Unity side of things is a completely different beast, you know. It's mostly just assigning things correctly and, you know, setting things up correctly there and having toggles and blah 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 blah. But that's its entire own beast, you know. I personally like Blender better. Although both are required to make models, so now that we have a cube and a bone structure or an armature, I'm going to set this back to, what is it, stick? There we go. All we really need to be able to export this is it needs to be UV unwrapped. Center mass is around your hip and parent bone. Yeah, that makes the most sense, yeah. So in order to put a texture on this, we need to first decide how we want to unwrap this object. And it sounds a bit weird, but it'll start making sense soon. So, I have a thing where like it always resets my settings, so I always have to re-enable that. It helps with if I scuff up my settings. But you can see this cube. You need to think about it like origami. How would you be able to put a 2D image, like a PNG file, onto this cube? And you can tell here that, oh, behind my big ass ears, right? It is already unwrapped in such a way that we would be able to start working with it. He's pulling his default cube out? Yeah. So, because we used ads and then one of these shapes here, they always have their own default, what do you call it? Like, default sort of UV unwrapping on it. But in cases that you are working with a dynamic shape, like, for example, the Hopkin, you can tell that the how to unwrap it becomes a lot more complicated really fast, because it's like a sea of polygons. If I were to, for example, just to show how this works, but you see that the face, it's almost like a skinned animal here, right? The face resides right there. If we were to take or select the face here by, if you want to do the same thing, I'll go over it. If you hover over an object in edit mode and press L, you'll be able to select using different type of techniques. You can select using normals, materials, seams, sharps, or UVs. We'll be using UVs for this example, so that way you can see what happens. We'll also go to the texture mode here, so you can see this as well. Let me select the eyes for a second and hide them. Oh my god, this is so scuffed. What is causing this? Vec face culling, is that it? It doesn't matter that much. Oh god, this is so scuffed. Hold on, let me see if I can fix this first. I think it's just the thing here that's fucked, right? Okay, so we're going to make a new material real quick, just so it becomes infinitely easier to show. You don't have to really worry about this. I'm just gonna make sure that like it doesn't look fucking scuffed. So give me 1 second. Let's see, where is this? That is in. Is that here? Yeah, VR creates, Blender, models, Hopkin, AT, library, no, not that. Assets, textures, AT textures. We're gonna go with purple. I think Arcane Twilights, body, there we go. I think that's it. And this, oh wait, normal. I think I can assign pretty much everything except these things to it. So don't worry about it at the moment. I just want to fix this first before we continue, because otherwise it's not going to make any sense for you guys. I think that's it. No, tail as well. I think that's it. Yeah, so as you can see currently, the textures weren't lining up. It didn't really make much sense. Wait, what? Why is the hair deselected? I didn't deselect that, did I? Okay, and now we assign that there. There we go. Alright, okay, so we have a functional textures. Are gums and teeth attached to the body? Yes, they are. Everything here should be attached to the body. Good call, actually. I did not see that. It depends obviously on what kind of model you're working with, but with the default Hopkin, that is indeed on the, yeah, good call, thank you, Blaines. So, we have the default Hopkin here. It has the blush thing as well, so I can disable that. And it also doesn't have any eyes. I guess I can give it eyes as well, why not? Fuck it. I'm gonna just quickly fix that too, if I can find it. No, VR Create, where is it? Blender, Models, Hopkin, Assets, Textures, AT Textures, Purple, and then Eyes. There we go. Okay, so, default Hopkin. Love Blender? Yeah. Me too. That's why I want to, like, help people understand it, you know? So we have the default texture here. Now, what is UV editing? UV unwrapping. UV unwrapping is fairly simple in concept. Let me just unhide these. Wait, how do I? There we go. So, say for example, you have these eyes, right? These use a different texture. Why is it not showing the right one? Okay, these use a different texture. If I were to take the unwrapped topology here that is on this side, on the texture side, and move it, you can tell that the eye starts moving. This is because it is assigning this these coordinates on this 2D plane to this eye. So, if I were to go, for example, to the cube, and then go to the section which allows you to add and remove and play around with material properties right here. You can make a new one. You can do cube, name it whatever you want. It doesn't matter that much, unless you want to make Unity recognize an update from it, and if you then change it, they can fuck it up, but don't worry about that too much. So, say for example, you want to use an existing texture to update like this eye texture or whatever, or you want to add that to this. You can then go to the properties of the cube, go to base color, go to image texture, and then it will try to load a texture, but since you have nothing selected, it will be just black. You can try to locate the texture that you want, and then we can assign it here. I have selected the eye texture, but as you can see right now, it isn't particularly great, right? It doesn't really fit on very well, mostly because the texture is kind of scuffed. But you're the only person that I've seen use this texture menu instead of the nodes. The nodes become infinitely more complicated really fucking fast, Kevin. It is even more daunting. This is mainly just to be able to add a texture to your existing model to be able to see what it would look like as like a base thing. Like the whole node thing is too complicated to explain. So we have the cube here now with a existing texture. It will read this face, for example, right here. Oh wait, hold on. Right, this face, for example, right here is this face right here. So if we want the eye to be on here, this would have to correlate with the actual eye. But we can do that doing this. However, it is not recommended that you do something like this, because if you then look here, you'll have overlapping, I guess like geometry, like topology on the actual texture menu. That's why the texture for the Hopkin like this looks like such a mess, because this is where the topology is lying. This also prevents, for example, two parts to be textured exactly the same by giving them each an individual space on the actual texture. You can tell that certain parts are larger than... Yes, I will get to that as well, Plains. Certain parts are larger than other parts, like for example the face, because the face is usually the place you look at the most. that's why Hubbard did a great job with this. Because the more space you have to work with, the wait, why is that reversed? Okay, whatever. The more space you have with it, the more detail you'll be able to put into it. Oh, you're fine, Plains. Don't worry. You can also, I think, there's a possibility here. I'm gonna have to look this up. Display stretch. Okay, so yeah, here we go. There is an option here, I guess in the shader options of the 2D image, to be able to display the stretch. This is also very important, and I'll go over that as well. Because if, for example, you're me and you're fucking stupid, and you were me from like 3 or 4 years ago, if I were to, for example, unwrap this onto a 2D platform, you can tell that, like, okay, yeah, you're gonna have to sort of like imagine squishing it in a 2D plane. That's what this is. But because it isn't easily pushed into that shape, you can see that these parts here that stick out the most, they will have stretching. The less stretching you have, the better your texture will translate to your body. That's why you can't do something like this and have both of them selected without introducing seam lines. So you can tell that currently it is actually being selected by what Hubbard had as seam lines initially, because this allowed them to unwrap the texture without introducing too much stretching. What I didn't do at first, and this was my bad, but I'm gonna show this now so that way you know if you ever work with this. If you go to here, UV, what I wanted to do was make it as easy to understand as possible for people to look at the 2D texture to see where things landed. So what I did is I went to UV and I unwrapped project from view. But you can see by doing that, especially here, things will start overlapping. And you will have a lot of stretching on the sides that aren't in view. So that is not what you want to do. If you do it with a cube, however, and you're able to lock your camera in a specific way using this navigational thing here. Well, I don't know what the name for this is, but then obviously it's different because you're working with 2D planes. But with a dynamic shape like this, you have to think about it like you're unwrapping clothing. Now, all of this yipping and yapping about a whole bunch of shit won't really matter that much, because most of you will not have to do this at all, at least the first few times. So, simply just go here, UV unwrap. Wait, what? Unfailed attempts, solve 1-to-1 islands. Oh, hold on. Allow me to go back for a second. So, the default cube has already got their stuff unwrapped properly. But in order to do that yourself, in order to add those seam lines yourself to determine where things should land, you just simply select the edge loops or the edges that you want to have as a seam, then go to the edge tab and then mark a seam. Then you will notice that in edit mode, they will appear as red. Same thing again, select the edge, mark a seam. Oh, wait, whoops. Mark a seam, like that. And then you simply have to think, like, how would I want this to be unwrapped? So with a cube, it's fairly simple. Let's see if I can figure it out. Like, this is not necessary at all for me, because I have already got a unwrapped cube. But this is just to show as an example. Mark a seam. Then I think that should be good, right? I think so. Yeah, so now if I select this, UV, unwrap, it'll be across again. And this is now going to be the least amount of stretching you can have with your cube. And then you can see that if you we pick the right, let's see, selection here. Let's do, oh, did it change the, no, it still has the eye texture. So that would be here. So it is important to work in this order. You want to make sure that your topology and your geometry of your model is what you want it to be. If you later on add a whole bunch of stuff by like extruding things or adding more things to it, or even removing certain like lines or whatever, that could introduce a lot of problems with the UV map. The more you fuck around with that, the more your UV map is going to be fucked. So what people often find when they're messing around with their model, when they're changing the shape of things, when they're merging vertices together, is like suddenly your UV map is all messed up, and then you'll see like this, and it's like, huh, what happened? Or more often than not, you'll suddenly see things like merged here in the corner because it doesn't know how to resolve certain things. I'm gonna control Z that. That's so fucking cursed. So when you are doing something like you completely reshaping the model, unless you have the topology for it, which if you do, then usually it's an issue as well, because then you have too much topology and then your avatar is like unoptimized and whatever. But when I was like doing something like reshaping the butt, for example, because that took a while for the Flopkin, I had to add a whole bunch of new lines and topology and like sort of like a crease line, like right here. I also had to completely redo this fluff because the fluff is actually on the topology of the Hopkin itself, which means if you want this gone, there's no easy way to get rid of it. And as far as I know, because it was one of their first models, I don't think it has a way to get rid of it. Let's see, Figfies, bigger butt, obviously, bump. Hell yeah. Yeah, so it doesn't really have a way to get rid of the fluff, which meant that if I wanted to add clothing to it, it would also always get in the way. So, for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add a generic, I guess, brick texture or something. Something that I can just gem mask. What is this? Okay, yeah, sure, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't really matter what the texture is. The point is it has a texture now. Texturing models itself is its own beast. You will have to take it into Substance Painter and then learn how to work with that. Substance Painter is typically a bit more like, it's easier to learn because it's essentially like painting. And if you paint, then it's simply just like, selecting a color, whatever tool you want and, whatever layer you want and stuff. But that's its own thing. But in practice, if you've followed along, we now have a armature with a cube on that gets moved by the armature. And that, in the roughest sense of the word, is what a model is required to have in order for you to be able to start using it in Unity. You need to make a grid instead of merging the vertices into one point. I need to make a grid instead of merging vertices into one point. Wait, what do you mean? Not too sure what you mean. So I will start showing something now. Let's see. So say, for example, I want to make an arm. Let's get rid of all of this real quick. Boom. The easiest way to do that would be to add a shape, a cylinder, like that. And then you can mess around with the values a little bit. There's a menu here that appeared behind my head. You can increase the amount of vertices, you can decrease it. But I'll pick something like 24. Maybe a little less. Hold on, let ads. I'm gonna be a little less there, so that way it isn't as daunting. What, 18, something like that. And then depth, like 4, like something like that. Okay. All right. So, say for example, this is in the roughest shape of the word, like an arm, right? I'm making 9 by 9 vertices instead of merging it into one, so the topology is easier to handle. Well, why would I merge it to one? I don't understand where that is coming from. Yeah, I'm not too sure why I would merge it into one. Let's see. So we have the cylinder here, which is a arm, right? I'm gonna just teach you a thing or two about what you need to keep in mind when you're weight painting. If you ever need to do that. There is a whole bunch of tools on the left side of your screen here. One of them is loop cut. You can click that, and if you hover over it, you can also see that the shortcut is Shift Spacebar or Control R. I just select it. Easier that way. You can do it like this, or you can also just click once, and then just, again, little menu behind my head. Increase the amount that you want. Something like that. So, we have a shape here. Now, we want to add a bone. Let's see, adds armature single bone. It's spawned in a really weird way, but that's fine. Let's do the top side is where the shoulder is. So we select the top side. We do cursor to selected. We select the part where the bone starts, which is always the one where the thickest side, that is the head. And you simply clip it to there. And again, we can do it so that way it gets in front. And that's a stick. And then we have the other side here. You can simply go here. Select the bottom side by Shift, Alt, and click. And get rid of the selected here. Go to the center, like that. And then set our endpoint over there. So we have a bone in the middle now. Exactly in the middle. Boom. Now, if we want to make an arm, we simply just go to the bone, select it in edit mode, and then subdivide it. Now we have a top arm and a, what is it called, a forearm, I guess? Or what's the terminology for that anyway? Let's see. Just arm and elbow. Okay, yeah, okay, I guess that works. Okay, so we have 2 bones here, and we have the cylinder. We're gonna name this arm, and put that on the Armature 2.0. But the cylinder still needs the naming of the bones here. So we're gonna call this just arm and elbow. Normally, you would want to put left or right in front of that in order for those to correlate correctly. Then you want to simply just add 2 vertex groups, one named arm, one named elbow. Yeah. And sort of do the same thing that we did before. Forearm and upper arm. Yeah, that makes sense. Then one of the ways that I usually weight paint, this will allow you to jump between vertex groups like seamlessly. Go to object mode, click on the bones that you want to edit, then shift click on the mesh that you want to weight paint to. Then go to the top left, go to weight paint mode. Oh, right, hold on. Normally what I'm allowed to do here is control clicking here, but this actually doesn't have the armature modifier yet. We need to first set this modifier here, and then go to armature 001. Simply do it again, click on the bone, shift click on the mesh, go to weight paint mode, And now we're able to view the weight painting of each bone. Now, it doesn't have any weight painting yet. So, very, very simply, we can do the same thing we did with the cube. Go to Add, after you're in weight paint mode. And then simply click and drag from the top side to the bottom. Like that. Or you can manually paint it too, but that takes a little longer. So I just usually just do this. Way easier. There's other ways to do it as well. Will you mention Rigify? I want them to be able to understand what is required to make a model work first. Then I will go over simply adding something like a bracelet to a model, then a hat, etc., and then whatever else people want me to mention. I will probably also go over SS Keeper, because that will probably save the most amount of time out of anything, if they don't know what SS Keeper is, you know? Either way, so you want to weight paint this. The reason you want to do it gradually, like this, and then control click on the other one, and then this, is so that way the transition between the two, and you're working with something that is like dynamic, you know, it's not a cube. So if you were to now rotate it, you can see that this will not just be a sharp line. You find this very interesting? Yeah, no worries. That's what it's here for. So, if I were to redo that for a second, so I can show you again. I don't know why this is this weight painted? Okay, no. So if I were to just do, for example, something like this, right? Just a very, very, very harsh and sharp line and drop off. I don't know why this is, oh, that's weird. Okay, whatever. Then you will be able to tell, since this is the top side, it will just crunch into itself like that. So in order to smooth that, you have a couple of options. You can go to the blur option here and blur it yourself like that. That usually takes a while. So I don't really like doing it, especially if you're working with a lot of topology. What you instead can do is go to weights, then go to smooth, and then you have another little menu that appears right here. You can do the amount that it smooths it with. I'm going to go with 1. You can do the iteration that it smooths it with. So how many times it tries to smooth it out. And you can also do extend and contract. So, for example, if I want a bit more overall weight paint, I can actually do 1. And then it will extend its weight painting 1 further on the edge loops. But typically you just want to go with the default of like 0.5 and 1 iteration or whatever. But in this case, 1 iteration isn't enough, so I like to do this. I found that the best way to do it is like to make it as gradual between the two as possible, but it highly depends on exactly what you're trying to achieve with your weight painting. But for now, we just want to have a smooth transition between 2 of the vertex groups. So, best way to do that is just boom, all the way down, and then boom, all the way up. And there we go. And this isn't obviously a perfect arm, like it's still gonna crunch and stuff, and there's different ways to do it too. Like, if I were to add a bit more weight painting here, then this will stick out a bit more, so this could kind of like act as if it's like an elbow, in a really, really rough sense. Usually the topology around an elbow is a lot more complex, and in a very set in a very specific way, so that way it sticks out more, so it looks more realistic, etc. But those are like advanced techniques. Currently, all you need to know is that this is how a model moves. Also, you can see that in both in edits mode, it will go back to its default position. But in object mode, it is posed. If you want to ever reset that, you can go to pose mode, select everything again by just pressing A, pose, clear transform, all. There you go. And yeah, that's roughly how an arm works. That is roughly what you are required to do in order to make anything move in Blender and work in Blender. So, are there any questions? Any at all? I was still working on my yin earlier. That's why I was in a little bit of a rush. Obviously, there are 1,000,001 different things and ways to use Blender, but for the general use case, navigation is important, and knowing exactly what is required to make an avatar work is also very important. Yeah. Also, I can unpin this, I think. No one has any questions? Yes, hi, Gutwolf. Hi, Raccoon. Hi, hi. No one? Hello? Is anyone still here? No? Okay. Well, we won't be covering animation today. Hi, Godwolf. Hey, Meliorum. Okay, well, I guess I can just keep, like, saying what else I think is really important, but I was kind of hoping there was a bit more interaction in terms of, like, asking me questions. This is one of the few times that I actually do stream this, which means that this is one of the few times people can actually ask me questions about this and how I make it. So, you know, make sure to take advantage of it, because I'm not gonna do this every time. Tutorial for Blender if you want to use it for VRC. Yes. Yes. Yes, it is. Since I already have something set up, should be... Oh, what the fuck? Oh, okay. I don't know what I'm doing down there. I already have something set up so I can go over it roughly again if you guys need it. Only questions I have now answerable by VOD and Google so far. First time seeing it. Yeah. So, a lot of people I've heard say are scared by Blender. Like, they are intimidated by Blender. This stream is to sort of try to work against that stigma, to show people that it is very intuitive, a lot more intuitive than the coding that is required to do with Unity. I'll just watch the VOD since I just came in here. You can ask me any question. I kind of know how to animate. I'm familiar with keyframe systems. I'd ask, but honestly, I'm pretty clueless with Blender. Any problems with bones we should know about? How did you create the looking tail? Looking tail? Go to the selected object, vertex, object, and face. Yeah. That works too, but it's kind of the same as this, so. So, once you have a model that has, you know, a mesh, obviously, and a armature that controls the mesh, for example, like the Hopkin right here, you can start adding things to it. Or you can start changing the shape. Next thing that we will touch on are blend shapes. So, you know how in VR chat, you have, for example, eyes that move, right? That is, in itself, fairly simple. It's just this. It's just a bone that moves, and the SDK that determines that. But more importantly, in VR chat, you also have different mouth positions. Now, you might wonder, How is it that the mouth moves around when I'm talking in VR? Because as you can see here, it's not fucking doing anything. How does that work? Well, the same way vertex groups are groups that like are determining how much a bone should be affected, like this. Shape keys are different. Hold on, just give me a second. Shape keys are different groups of vertices that are in different positions versus the base shape of your model. So, in simplest terms, for example, if my character says ah, like the letter ah, then they will open their mouth. The way that this is achieved is simply by adding a shape key, like this. Let's put that on 1. Let's say for example, I'm just gonna name it example. Example ah. And then while I have this selected, if I go to edit mode and then I move things around, you can tell now I'm gonna have a lot of work if I want to move each individual vertex like this. But luckily, there's different ways to move groups of vertices sort of together. In order to do that, just go to the top side right here and activate proportional editing. This will allow you to move a lot more than just one vertex. And it is determined by how large that circle is. So if I wanted to punch the Hopkins face in, for example, I can really easily do that by doing this. You know, it's funny, but if you want to make something look good, you gotta work for it, you know? So, you just simply select what you want to select, like this. And then you can move that down. Right now, there we go. Right now it was moving the top side as well, because it was determining how much it needs to move with this radius. But you can do connected only. That way it will determine how far long the connection is between what you are selecting, which means you can do something like this, and you can open the mouth, like that. But as you can see, the teeth aren't moving with it, because the teeth and the gums are also separated. So you would have to individually select each of these teeth and plus gums in order to move them with the mouth. So it moves sort of naturally with it. Because if you don't, and the teeth stay in the same position, it kind of looks like you're gritting your teeth the entire time. And as you can see, yes, this is extremely tedious. Yes, it is a lot of like very minute and individual work for each thing. And no, it barely feels like it's worth it. But once you do have something like this, there's no real way to go around it. You have to play with what you got. So this is sort of a makeshift mouth position. Usually you spend a lot more time perfecting it. Even sometimes fuck around with where the tongue is and stuff like that. Boom. And I just noticed something that is the bane of everyone's existence. I'm going to Control Z. So I can move the teeth left and right. This is not what I want. If I end up doing that, then it will always end up being slightly off-center. So, in order to prevent that, I can go to the mirror editing right here, the top right side. There's an X and sort of a butterfly thing. If you press the X, then it will always mirror things perfectly. So, if I start moving things around now... Oh, wait, hold on. I pressed Control Z and it got rid of the mirroring. Okay. So if I start doing things now, it should. Oh wait, Control Z it again. Okay, yeah, it should just keep everything symmetrical, no matter what. It's very important that you retain symmetry as much as possible, and especially if you end up working on the model a lot. For the love of God, make a lot of backups and check whether your avatar is still symmetrical. Because if it is not symmetrical, say for example, you want to fuck around with the eyelash shape here, right? If this isn't symmetrical, it won't also do the transforms that you've done to the other sides of the thing here. So say for example, I don't have this symmetrical for a little bit, I do this. Oh yeah, no, it still kind of looks symmetrical, right? But if I now do this and activate it like this and start moving things around again, you'll notice that it doesn't transform it to the other side anymore. That's because it now has asymmetry. That's not what you want. The more asymmetrical your model is, the more troubles you'll have in the long run trying to fix it. Obviously, I want to prevent you from doing that. That fucking sucks. I've done it before. I had to basically redo the Hopkin several, I think, dozen times now, because every single time, most of the trouble I had had to do with asymmetry. Triple and quadruple check, you're working on the right shape key. Yep, that too. So, now that I have a makeshift mouth position, example A, if I go to here and activate it, you can tell that the mouth now moves in a different position than it used to. There we go. This is how you make a shape key to be able to move your mouth. This is why you can see your mouth move in VR chat. In order for Unity, because Unity needs to... Oh, Dagon. Yo, thank you.
Flare of a wave.
There's a snap to symmetry, but it doesn't work well. Usually end up cutting the model in half. Yep. This is why the top priority, and keep this in mind, right? Because no matter what you do or no matter how good you are, you're always going to run into trouble. The top priority first is always make sure that the base shape of your model is what you want it to be before you start texturing and normal mapping and whatever, because you can still work in post on these things after you make the texture. But even me earlier, when I was working on the yin ears, because I wanted to slightly change it, I essentially now have to retexture the ears in order to make it like seamless, because it's a bit complicated, but essentially I fucked around with the shape a little too much, and now the texture doesn't line up anymore. So you see this makeshift thing right here? Yeah, that is now a vising. That's what we call a vising. So I'm just gonna delete it because we don't need it. But you can see here as well, other shape keys like the lickies. Hubbard went out of their way to make different positions for each of the little, like for example, even the underbite here. Slightly changes everything. And when they talk, they use these visings. Then sh, then D, then E, F, I, etc., K, N. Every single mouth position that you can think of. All of the visings are there. You can also fuck around with blend shapes, but they are primarily used for either customization or for visings. How do you add topology on one side without messing up symmetry? Adding topology on one side without messing up symmetry. So what exactly do you mean? Like, what do you mean adding topology? Do you mean on the base mesh that you're working with? Kind of like this? Like subdividing this, for example? Essentially, unless you are working with a mirror modifier and just like half your model, you will always have to do whatever you're doing on one side to the other side. When it has to do with the amount of topology. If it's just like fucking around with the shape, generally you can get away with just doing that. I have noticed though, because there's other modes that you can use here too, except for the modeling mode, right? For example, sculpting mode, right? In sculpting mode, you get a lot more, I guess, tools to help you. Like all the tools on the side here, they're all to help you shape the actual mesh that you're working with, right? Hold on, just give me a second. Okay, so say for example, I want to start editing the base shape here, right? In sculpt mode, you get a shit ton of different options to be able to do it. I want to maybe like, I don't know, thicker muscles or whatever. I can do this as like a rough thing, right? Like it looks fucking horrible. Maybe some broader shoulders too, yeah. There are a whole bunch of tools here that you can use to be able to help you shape your model the way that you want to. However, before you go too crazy with this, you have to understand one thing. The shape that you're working on highly depends on the blend shape that you're currently working on. In other words, always, like Tarn said, always double, triple, and quadruple check that you are working on the right shape key. It is essentially like checking the layer that you're working on in an art program. If you're working on the wrong layer, then you can also just have to redo it after a long time. Big ass, hell yeah. Like I don't know, loop cut on the left side with the mirror, and it messes up the right of the mirror. I'm not too sure, honestly. Basically, if I do that like this, a loop cut, and I go to the other sides, I just do that. I do whatever action I do on both sides. Or you just do both at the same time and then, I don't know, subdivide it. But generally speaking, it's always better to worry about the shape of your model first before unwrapping it, before texturing it, etc. Or like even think ahead a little bit of like what blend shapes you might want. Like I think, if I recall correctly, the Hopkin has some blend shapes to customize in, like chubby cheeks. Then the bigger butt, which obviously needs to be at 100 at all times. Very important. Then big chests. This gives the boobs to the Hopkin. And I think that's it. Oh, thin waist. Yeah, there we go. Something. Didn't know there were layers, so that will help a lot. If anyone's following with Blender 4, the sculpt tools are now in the tray along the bottle by default instead of on the side. Yep. So, let's see. So, blend shapes overall are primarily used for customization, like changing the shape of your model a little bit as you know, like fuck around with it. And for the mouth positions. They can also be used to hide topology underneath clothing. And this is where I'm thinking, hold on, I'm gonna double check here. I'm gonna load up my other projects, but I don't want to accidentally select the wrong one, so hold on. Test example Hopkin. Save. Okay, and now open Flerken. Okay, I think I'm good. Take it out with a grain of salt. Oh, let me double check. I don't want to PP on my screen. Okay, no, fucking it. We're good. Okay, so, hi. As you can tell, the shape of this Hopkin, quote unquote, is slightly different than the other one, right? lots of work done on my personalized model over the years. So, I have my own model here. I've worked on this quite a lot. I have done a couple of things to this, which helped me set things up into Unity later on. Why am I hiding that? I'll just disable that. What am I doing? One of the ways that blend shapes could also be used is by simply preventing the body mesh. You can see it here. It's underneath, between the thigh highs. And wait, hold on. Yeah, between the thigh highs and the cow prints, right? But if I'm going to start posing it, I think I've done a good enough job that even if I do start posing it, it's not going to start clipping through. But typically it does. If you make clothing, let me. Oh, whoops. Hold on. Let me check here. Wait, what is happening? Okay. Yeah, no, I think the weight painting is immaculate on this. I've done a great job. Okay, so sometimes what you have in Unity is that the base mesh will start clipping through the clothing that you've made. All it requires for that to fuck up, hold on, let's see, is, for example, if I were to, if the weight painting would be like slightly different. Wait, why is it not showing? This is weight paint mode, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, there we go. So you can see here that it's a very specific set of weight painting, right? And it's exactly the same weight painting as the actual body underneath here. Oh, wait, hold on. Like that. Should be exactly the same. That's why it was also spilling out on the panties here a little bit, because I was also trying to copy that over. Same thing here. Like, you can't really look through the thing, but it should be exactly the same weight painting. That's why it doesn't clip through. But in order to actually achieve that, in order to be able to get to that point, the topology needs to be exactly the same. Essentially exactly the same. The only difference would be the offset is hovering over whatever vertex the other ones are. If it's even slightly different, you're going to have to either need to make it hover a lot more to the point where it doesn't look good anymore. Like it's like a floating scarf or something. Or you're going to need to add a whole bunch of extra topology, which would also not be good, because the more topology you have, the less optimized it is, right? So, let's do something. Let's do something very, very simple here. Let's hide the bracelets.
I know that the Hopkin and Flopkin is well fit, but how can you blend shape the body to a bodybuilder if possible?
Wait, what? I know that the Hopkin and Flopkin is well fit, but how can you blend shape the body to a bodybuilder if possible? You mean you want to have a blend shape that makes you look like an absolute fucking unit? Is that it? Yeah, I mean, that's possible. Like, it's the same process, right? You could just meticulously sort of shape the body to the big muscles if you want that, I suppose. It's not something that I wanted for the Flopkin, but, you know, you can do that if you want. What was the hardest thing that I've learned in Blender? How to manage symmetry. Because I want to emphasize this a lot. Losing symmetry can lose you literal days of work. Sometimes you don't know that you've lost symmetry at all. And if you are going to... Essentially, if I were to like change the topology of the ass, for example, instead of like worrying about like doing every single action twice on each side, I would simply just cut my model in half, or only work on that part of the model. Probably like just cut the butt out of the model, and then try to, before I do that, determine where it exactly is on the UV map and then do it that way. But 99% of the time, people are just gonna give up on trying to like restore the symmetry and learn to work asymmetrical, which would be extremely scuffed. I would highly discourage that. Or add a modifier with the like mirrored thing, etc., etc. It's a flopper. Hey, Eclipse. So I line down the middle. This one, yeah. Hello, Redwing. It's also just like it will give you twice the amount of work. Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to now give you a tutorial on how to make a makeshift like arm or sleeve sock or whatever, like, you know, like just something that wraps around one of your limbs, right? As a general concept. So, wait, is that moving differently? Wait, hold on. Oh, is it posed? Whoops. There we go. All right. So, if you want to make, say for example, an arm sleeve. Let's do arm sleeve. That might make more sense. What you can do, and this is what I typically do, is you select where the sleeve is gonna end up on. So in this case, that would be around here. Oh, I completely forgot. Shift Alt click to select the edge loop like this, and then Control plus to be able to select more adjacent edge loops on it. You can do the same thing by Shift Alting this to be able to deselect some if you think you're not gonna go that far, which in this case I wouldn't. So say for example you want sort of an arm sleeve like this, right? The fingers and everything else and going in between that is a little bit more complicated. Like you can select more like this and then do the same thing as well. But for now, let's just, very simple concept. Boom, you want an arm sleeve. What you can do, if you copy this base mesh, it will copy the normals. It will copy the UV mapping on the mesh. It will also copy every single blend shape that there's on there. So this, in practice, is the easiest way to make sure that the sleeve will fit the arm. Just by simply copying the base like this. By, let me explain. Shift D will duplicate whatever you have selected like this. So if you want to copy that, Shift D like that. And then in order to separate it on a separate mesh, so that way you don't accident. Oh, Cusick, yo. Cusick, thank you so much for the raid, sweetheart. Hi, how was VR chat? Nothing to do with Blender. Why are you wearing a cowbell? Because funny. Cusick is the bottom. Hi, Cusick. Hi, sweetheart. We're learning how to use Blender today. Make sure the auto merge is off, otherwise it will just delete the copy instantly. Yes, we haven't touched that, but yes, very good call out. You're not. Well, if you're interested, we are. I am teaching Blender today. Yeah, I'm currently teaching people how to make an arm sleeve. So, let's check out the option that was mentioned earlier, making sure that auto merges off. So, auto merge is an option that allows you to merge vertices together automatically if they are close enough to each other. This can be useful for basically soldering two things together if you want it, but generally speaking, it is very easy to forget that you have it on, because it only ever does something if things are exactly on top of each other. And depending what your default size is of your model, the threshold of being like merging things together might be too low by default. Like you might not want that on at all. Also, I me too. So auto merge is under these options here: active tool and workplace settings. I think it is under options itself. Auto merge right here. Make sure this is off. If you ever want to merge two things together with distance, it is better. So say for example, hold on, let me do something stupid here, right? Say I have a arm that is completely separated from the rest of the body, right? But it's still my fucking arm. I want that back on there. You wanted to do something on this arm, or you wanted to get rid of it, or whatever, it doesn't matter. But now you want it back together. Two separate meshes. You want to put that back on the same mesh. You click on one of them, like this. Then you shift click on the other. Control J. And that will put them back on the same mesh. Now if you go to edit mode, you'll see, oh yeah, there we go. This is where the line is. This is where the seam line is. And then you notice if I shift alt click right here, I have to do it twice because there's essentially two copies of the same vertices in the same location. If I want to merge them together, instead of using this, I would not advise ever having that on. You can just simply do this, press M, and a little menu will appear. It's going to ask you to merge things together, either by at center, which would do this. That's not what we want. At the cursor, which is also not what we want. Then I will just merge it at the cursor. Collapse, which will do the same thing. At first, which will depend on which ones you've selected first. And at last, which is the opposite. But you can also see here, it does it by distance. And there you go. Now it does the exact same thing without having the potential to fuck up your model. And you can fuck around with the options. It's again behind me. I'm probably not in the best position for this, but let's see. So you can see behind me right here that you can determine what distance you want to merge things on. So if I were to put this way higher, you can see that like it starts merging more and more together. Obviously not what we want to do. So we do 0.00001, something like that. Something very, very small. So it is essentially wherever it is at the same position. And there you go. I'm going to just Control Z this because I don't have to have this in my fucking queue thing. Don't matter that much. Boom. I have had it quite a few times where I have forgotten that I had auto merge on, and it caused me days of work, like literal days of work, to try to like recuperate. Auto merge is also up there next to a mirror X and Y. Oh, it is. Wait, what? Oh, this thing? Is that it? Oh yeah, there we go. Good to know. Very nice. I use auto merge when edge slide and vertices when I'm getting rid of excess geometry. Yeah, that could work. Yeah. But stuff like that doesn't really work if you already have an existing model and you don't want to fuck up the UV map. That's where like a lot of the problem can lie. If you already have an existing model and you don't want to fuck up its texture, fucking around with the base of your model is only going to give you more trouble along the way. See you later, Flare. Thank you, Blaines. Talk to you later. Hold on. Just a second. My voice is kind of sore. We'll make a sleeve in a second so I can show you. Okay. So, we want to make a sleeve. Let's see. We have what we want selected. We simply Shift D to duplicate. Then you just click anywhere on your like screen. But if you do this, it's gonna position it over here, so you don't want that. So you can just Shift D and then escape. And then it's still going to be there. You can move it using G. I forgot to mention that, but if you have something selected and you press G, then it will be the same as clicking this. And then you can also move it around, like that. Fucking up with UV. Edge loop is not a seam, useful when porting stuff into Quest and mobile. Yeah, like if you want to optimize it a little, yeah. So now we have a separate mesh right this, but we're gonna separate it onto another mesh file like that. But you can notice now, I'm going to get rid of the texture here real quick, so that way it's more obvious that it's a sleeve. And I don't know, like make it red or whatever, right? But you can tell, oh, what is all this? Well, good sir, they are in exactly the same location. So there's gonna be some Z fighting. Essentially what that means is that it will try to prioritize both of them at the same time. Obviously that doesn't work. So we actually have to move the sleeve that we just made upward a little bit. In the sense that, like, you know, if you do this, for example, oh, now it doesn't clip through. But what is this? The back clips through now. Oh, heck, maybe I need to... Oh, wait, that doesn't work either. So, we need to make it slightly larger than the arm. So that way it can encompass the arm. How would we do that? Well, we could simply scale it up. But you can tell here, if I simply scale it up like this, yeah, it will kind of work. But the larger an object is, especially if there's curves and folds, the less this is going to work. Because if I scale it up a lot like this, well, then it's going to start clipping through the shoulder and the hands, silly. So obviously you don't want that. So how do we scale it based on its orientation away from the mesh? Well, luckily there's a way to scale things up using the normal data. So, instead of having something like this, where the sleeve grows longer and longer as well, you can... Yeah, exactly, Kaya knows. You can simply scale it up using the normal data like this. Hell yeah. I like that. That was cute roleplay. Raise his hand. Yeah, so, sort of like this. And then, since this is an exact copy of the base mesh, you can now simply... I think it also still has the modifier on it. Yeah, it's still... Because it was an exact copy, it still has everything else on it as well. You can simply just do this, and it will move with it. And there you go. That's the easiest, fastest way to make a sleeve. And how long did that take? I think that was legitimately not even like... I could do that in like a minute. Actually, let me time that. Let me time that. I want to time that. Alright, let's see. Chat, we're gonna speedrun trying to make a sleeve. Okay? 3, 2, 1, go. Right, just something like that. Yep, that's good. Then this, Control D, or Shift T, yes. Separate, boom, 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 go here. Remove this, add a new one. Or red. That's red now. Control. There you go. That's a sleeve. And time. I think that was 15 or 20 seconds to make a sleeve. And now everything else should work. So as you can tell, this, not complicated at all. 23 seconds. There we go. World record timing. Yeah. So making a sleeve itself, not very difficult, but you need to be able to understand why you're doing things, right? I should do a from scratch Avi speedrun. Would be a cool video, yeah. I mean, like, it would be almost an abstract, like, Avi at that point, you know? Like, if I want, like, I know myself, I'm a perfectionist. I spend a lot of fucking time, like, on meaningless stuff that, like, people won't get to see just because they don't notice it, you know? Yeah, so, if we go here, one thing that I apparently didn't do. Oh, no, wait, that I did do. Ah, see, this is a good example of why you always need to make sure that you're on the right blend shape. You see this? I have, okay, I selected the blend shape bulgeless while I was working on it, because here, I also had the bulgeless selected. You always want to make sure that you're working on the base one. But since I was working on the bulgeless one when I was upscaling it, it is now set to that one. Obviously, we don't want that on bulgeless. We want that on the base blend shape. But you can see, even if we activate it, right? Sorry, hold on. Even if we activate it and we go to bases, this is what the base looks like. It is still sort of in a scuffed position. So you might think like, oh, okay, that's easy. We can just do the same thing here. Like, whoop, there you go. Boom. But now if we go here and we still have bulgeless on, it will now combine the two blend shapes together. And this is not what we want, but because now it starts to hover above it way too much. So you need to be very careful. Any sort of disposition or any sort of deform that you make on the base blend shape will translate into every single other blend shape. So if you've already made a hold on, where is it? Where's bulgeless? Where's bulgeless? Oh, that also upscales that? Oh, that's interesting. Hold on, let me see if I can make it a little easier for you guys to read then. Here it is, sorry. So, since I already had something on there, it now combines the two. That's not what we want. So instead of doing that, we can use this one, the edits that we just made. So say for example, like, oh no, you were working on the wrong blend shape. I want that to set that to my base, but if I try to copy these settings, even if I do it like this, like even if I go here, then select everything, vertices, blend from shape, and then select the one that I had here. Again, this is behind me. Where is it? Bulgeless. It will transform this, but now everything else is fucked. You see how it's like shrunk in underneath there? Yeah, it's because blend shapes always affect each other. And the basis blend shape is the most fragile to different transforms. So you have to make sure to not, like, to do it correctly. You have to make sure that you select the right one correctly. I don't even know what the fuck I did now. What the fuck did I do? Let's see. Is this the basis? Is the basis on? I'm in edit mode now. Yeah, no, the basis is now this, but now everything else is fucked. And I think that's due to the... Is that to the bulgeless?
You are very good at 3D art.
Ever created hair? Yeah, I created this one. But in a tutorial stream? Hey, Mayo. Yeah. I have some predetermined rules for what I need to have. I don't know. What? Would make a cool video. Fair enough. Wondered, did you blend shape your tux? Because I've been looking for a perfect flavor of Flopkin, never found one. Yeah. I'm the one who edited on there. There's Bulge. Thank you, Nightmare. There's this screencast keys add-on that might be helpful for people to see. I have no idea which one that is, Starn. Hiya, hot stuff. Hey, Insomnia. As is visible from the front. Yep. So you can tell, like, I don't even know what I exactly did in order to have this happen. But what I'm going to do is this. Oh, okay. I see. So all of the blend shapes that were on before I copied the base to create the sleeve were still active. That's why I had the bulgeless one selected, because that one was the last one that I deactivated. But you have to think in advance here. Okay, say for example you made a mistake on one of the blend shapes, right? There's a couple of things you can do. First of all, isolate the problem. Say for example your arms are fucked up, but that is on your base body mesh. It's, oh shit, fuck, I fucked up my arms. What am I gonna do now? If you isolate the problem, then making edits, you are then allowed to make more edits without influencing the rest of your model. So, since this is just a sleeve, none of the mouth blend shapes, like the visings, the VRCE, TH, SS, the SIL, the R, the P, none of that is necessary. The look up, down, right, none of them is necessary too. Pupil size doesn't get influenced. Blink size doesn't get influenced. Eyes don't get influenced. You can all get rid of that. Same thing with the tongue, lickies, and the mouth blend shapes. Don't need that. That's not necessary. Oh, okay. So, I just noticed that I was, yeah, I just deleted a whole bunch of blend shapes that I didn't mean to delete. So, which means I could have lost hours and hours and hours. So let me just quickly do this. There we go. Let's redo that. Oh, Blender. Yep. I simply had the wrong thing selected, and that could have cost me hours there. So it's very important to not do that. That's in the add-ons menu. Screencast keys shows. Oh, right. Thank you. I didn't know that was that's what it was called. Screencast keys. Add-ons, right? Keys. Wait, what? Where is it? I kind of want that. I didn't know what that was called. It said screencast keys, but is it like a separate add-on I still have to install? Ivy Gen, simple curves, keys, add curve, animation, corrective shape keys. Fire card comes with Blender. In the add-ons menu. This is add-ons, right? Can find those keys for the screen, that would be amazing. Yeah. You have to activate it. Yeah, but like, what is it called? Yeah, it's oh, right. You guys can't see it, but I have a menu here. I'm searching for it. What's the name for it? Screencast? I see add curve, Ivy Gen, add curve, simple curves, navigation, key map. No, it's under add-ons. Hold on, let me show you what I'm seeing right now. Oh god. Window capture? No. Display capture. Okay. Is that it? I think. Hold on, chat. Is that... Oh. Oh, okay, yeah, no, that's the wrong one. Okay. So this is the thing that I'm seeing. I'm typing in screen here, but I'm not finding it. And keys either. I just see this. Enable add-ons only. Is there another name for it? The spike ring on the tail? Also, yeah, I have stuff on my Twitter account if you want to find the spicy stuff. Looking now? Okay. 3D view navigation. Stored views. Is that in that version? Or am I be hallucinating it being default? That's not really my thing, Nightmare. Discombobulator? Wait, what? There's a discombobulator? That's funny. Corrective shape keys I find. Bose library. Dependency. Operator source. Edit operator. Is that it? Open source file of operator call. No. Icon viewer. The funny is how if you showed him. Wait, if you showed him, wait, you should make an. Oh, that one. Yeah. It's a Blender 4 thing and it's not a Blender 3 thing. Version extension .blender is only for 4.2. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I'm using a very outdated one. Okay, that's good to know. I'm gonna delete that because I don't trust myself to not accidentally show something spicy on stream, but whatever. Okay, so we lost a bit of time because I was started to delete the blend shapes, and all of that came just because I was working on the wrong blend shape. So again, very important that you select the right blend shape before you start making edits, because if you don't, then you can have an avalanche of problems that keep stacking up. And my avalanche would have caused me to essentially have to redo most of my model, so... Yeah, I'm still on 3.0. Yeah, I literally already answered you, Nightmare Freddy. It's on my Twitter. Okay, so let's make the sleeve again. Just copy this. Separate mesh. Escape to keep it in the same position. Separate it by pressing P. Selection. Like that. There we go. Now, in order to see it, I'm going to give it another color. Like that. New. Boom. Red. There we go. Make sure that we're working on the right shape key. We are. Select everything by pressing A. Alt-S. Upscale it a little bit. And there you go. You have a sleeve that should work perfectly fine. Boom. Okay, what the fuck? Wait, hold on. Okay, I also had something else selected apparently. Alright, okay. That is... Anyway, don't worry about that. We don't need that. I think that should be it though. Right? Faces, upscale a little bit. I tried not to make it too upscalable. Like, if it's the exact same topology like I have here, that essentially means that could be like the tightest it could possibly be. There we go. Now we have sleeve. Yippee! Hooray! Head was selected as well. Demon Flare, yeah. Also important to add 256 undo steps. Yes. Yes. Is that something that can activate by default? I don't think, like, I think the max I have is like maybe 30 something. 36 or so. Preferences, okay. Where's that? Undo? Interface? You have to do it in settings. In settings, okay. Default. Is that in edits? No. Preferences system. System, okay. Max undo steps. Okay, so 256, right? Yeah, there we go. That's good to know. Thank you. Yeah, that's really good to know. Yeah, that alone had fucked me up quite a lot. The fact that I can't undo enough to get back to where I was. But yeah, now this is a really easy way to make sleeves, etc. So I've showed you how what is required to make an avatar move. I've showed you what you need to keep in mind in order to make an avatar move, like with the vertex groups. Hold on, let me show you again. Let's see. This now has a lot of clutter on it as well. It has all of the vertex groups that you will never use on this as well. Which means that, same thing with the blend shapes, which means that, like, yes, you can make a sleeve like this, but it will be unnecessarily, like, loaded with information that it doesn't need. So, that's why I was removing things now from the correct mesh. So I just go down to the last thing of, like, the face. I think it's like this, and then Booba as well. Let's remove all of these. Like that. Boom, boom, boom. Keep the bases. Now, the only ones that will start influencing how the arm looks are things like the buff blend shape. Like this one. Or the toned up one, which makes it slightly broader. Same thing with buff up, but all the other ones don't really do much. Then we have also the shrink blend shapes, which I'll cover in a bit. But yeah, this should be it. I think I only have 3 of them. So,
cheese.
Reaper, thank you for the follow. Okay, Nightmare, chill. Alright, so now that I have a sleeve and a base mesh, this will not always line up perfectly. So what you will have to do on some occasions to be able to prevent it from clipping through is you can go to the mesh that is underneath your clothing and you can add a blend shape that will shrink the mesh underneath like this. Like, this looks fucking horrifying, like it's a chicken, but I promise it's for a reason. Let's see. Something like that. Or like, do I have a normal one? No. Okay. Let's add a new one. So let's call this arm sleeve shrink. It's not required to be named arm sleeve shrink. You can name it whatever you want.
I'm making a character who has a bottle for a head. Do you have any tips on how to make it? As in, being able to see inside the bottle head.
Oh, that has to do with the shaders, right? Yeah, that has to do with the shaders. Shaders are like their own beast. Like you'll have to play around a lot with values a lot anyway. Being able to see inside of the bottle, I'm guessing, you know, like you want to make it see-through like glass, right? In most cases, with like any sort of body mesh, if it's not see-through as well, like you won't really have to worry about the topology on the inside of whatever object you are. But in case of a see-through bottle, you'll probably also have to have topology on the inside. Yeah, so you'll have to play around with see-through materials. But that has to do with like the material noding and stuff like that. That's not something I'm gonna touch today because it's its own sort of like difficulty to try to figure out exactly what you want. I think the best you could do is probably look up a way to make... You're not screwed, you're not screwed. It's just not something that I've done. The most that I've done was like the glasses here. Hold on. I have, let's see, glasses here, which have their own like see-through thing. Hold on, let's see, geometry, boom. So they are also see-through. You would want essentially something similar to this that is see-through, that allows you to, you know, have the bottle for the head. I'm good, Edward. Okay, so in order to add the arm shrink blend shape, you simply want to just look where exactly it will not be showing your arm. And in this case, that's this right here. Let me just... something like that, right? I would recommend not shrinking it down here, because if you do, you'll be able to start seeing it like very obviously where you shrink it, right? Only shrink it like a little bit away from the edge where the edge of your clothing is. So in this case, that would be this. Then you can do the same thing. You can Alt S and then scale up and down like that. Let me show you better. And then it'll sort of like crunch your mesh together. That does not have to look pretty. Like, it could be like this, and this is perfectly fine. Because if you now still move it, like so, for example, and then maybe something like this, you'll see that it still won't be...
Incredible woe.
Then you'll see that it will still be just acting perfectly fine. Although weight painting of my arm region in general on the Flopkin isn't the greatest. I'm not the one who made this, not the weight painting on that one specifically. So like you can kind of see it crunching a little bit more than I would probably want. But the most important thing is that the base mesh does not clip through the mesh of the clothing, because once it does, that's when you get this like really ugly, like it doesn't feel like you're wearing clothes, you know. But yeah, that's how you make a shrink blunt shape, like that. It's activated. I didn't even activate it yet. So in this case, it wouldn't have been necessary, but it's always a nice precaution to have. So why would you want this? Simply, if you have a toggle on your avatar that activates this arm sleeve, like that, you can also, on the same toggle, activate the arm shrink. So whenever I activate this, this happens underneath. That way, you can prevent clothing from clipping. And there you go. That's the simplest way that I've found to do it. There are other ways to do it as well. Things like... There's actually two other ways that I know that you can do it. So for one, what you can do... let me just get rid of the... actually, let me keep it for now. So what you can do... Oh, wait, is it post? I think it's post. Shit. Just a second. You can go to the... where is it? You can go to the sleeve that you've made. Like that. And you can simply separate the entire arm underneath it. That way, you can simply just turn it on and off whenever you have this on. And that it will work in the same way, but you can kind of already see where that is going. Like if you have to separate each body part to be able to toggle it on and off, eventually your character will start to look like Swiss cheese. Like there will be parts cut off everywhere, and you might also get these like ugly normal map lines, which won't be very good for how your Avi feels as well. So this is not something that I would recommend. The reason why we want to shrink underneath it to prevent clipping and such is because it is it fucks a lot less with your avatar than it does if you just cut it up in pieces. And then the last part, the only other part that I know that you can do, or like the only other way that you can prevent it from clipping other than just like weight painting it in a really meticulous way, is to go on your actual texture file of your model, then make a part of your texture transparent where your arm sleeve is going to be. So that way, whenever your arm sleeve activates, the part underneath it becomes completely transparent. That way, even if it does clip through, you won't be able to see it. I can't show you an example like that because I never do it like that, because this essentially requires you to have a whole bunch of extra texture files for like your shader in Unity, which would be something you would have to set up in Unity in order to swap them around to be able to make sure that the thing doesn't clip through. So the easiest way that I found is to just shrink the body mesh underneath it to prevent it from showing. For PC, there's shaders that use UV discard that lets you disable sections of a mesh being rendered, Pyomi being one of them. Right. I remember someone told me about that. I have no idea how to use that yet. So I know that it was something similar to that, and that's also sort of what I was somewhat referencing. It has its applications. I still found that the simplest way to do it is to do it the way that I'm doing it, but if that is a more optimized way of doing it, then it might be worth looking into that. But yeah, so want to make clothing, that's kind of how you do it. That's kind of how I would recommend you starting it. Obviously, it doesn't have to be a sleeve. if you want to, for example, make a bracelet, which kind of the same concept, you know, not super difficult, but you can simply just select the base mesh, then clone it like that, boom, separate it like that. Same thing, go here, get rid of the fucking thingy. Let's see. Body bracelet or whatever, it doesn't matter. Then boom, and then again Alt S to upscale it a little bit like that, and then there we go. So what a lot of people also end up doing on their model, in order to add some depth to what they are trying to do, you know, like the thing that they're trying to create, is they will add a modifier called solidify. What solidify does is, hold on, let me see. Can I do this? Ah, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna have to do it the other way around, I think. Yeah, just give me 1 second. Okay, so what solidify does is it will add topology as sort of a thickness to it. It will add a thickness to whatever you are making, depending on how thick you've set it. This will increase in thickness. It's very, very sort of simple to understand, but this is also very useful for making a bracelet, for example, like this. And then all I would have to do is, you know, apply it in order to actually get the topology for it. But here lies also the issue. So since I copied the base mesh like this, you can tell there's still a whole bunch of blend shapes on it. But if you want to actually apply it, it's going to start yapping at you that you're unable to, modifier cannot be applied to a mesh with shape keys. So, in other words, in instances, for example, where you cut the model in half, right? And you did that because you wanted to fix symmetry. It would suck to have to remake all of your blend shapes. So all of the mouth positions, all of the different like body types that you've added and stuff. So all of those that's a lot of work. So obviously you would want the ability to be able to add like to apply a modifier like the mirror modifier or the solidify modifier on things that have shape keys. So reluctantly, if it's necessary for you to do, you're more likely to not delete all the shape keys and then there you go, now you can apply it. And then you'll see, oh, there you go, there's the topology that you were asking for. Great. But obviously, you might not want to delete all your shape keys. However, I have a little plugin. Stupidly easy to download. Hold on. I think it's called SS Keeper. Let's see. Blender. No, not SK Keeper. Hold on, just give me a second. I want to double check this before I start like yapping at you for it. Okay. Pretty sure it's called like an SS Keeper. No? Shape keys? Wait, what? Imagine putting a small flopper in a hand on an avatar. Certain emotes can summon flopper. Wait, what? Oh, no, it is called SK Keeper. My bad, sorry. It's called SK Keeper. I thought it was called SS Keeper. Okay, Blender extensions. Add-on. Okay, I think it's just this one. This looks official. So this right here, the SK Keeper, the compatibility. Oh, okay, so that's for the latest version. Right, okay, so I have an outdated version. But essentially, if you type in SK Keeper, Blender, or anything along those lines with SK Keeper, it essentially allows you to do this. Simply just type in apply all modifiers and keep shape keys. Boom. Gotta make sure to do that in object mode, by the way. And also make sure to deactivate all of the active blind shapes that you've had. Otherwise, it fucks with it too. Not 100% sure, but it can fuck stuff up. And it's not fun if it does. Let me double check my blend shapes. All of them. Yeah, it still has some of the shrink stuff as well. But obviously on a bracelet, you're not going to need that. So this, in theory, was pointless. But now we do have the topology here. And we also keep the shape keys. And there you go. In cases, and I promise you, this is worth remembering. In cases that you have to use a modifier to save your model, like you fucked something up or whatever, and you really need to work with the mirror modifier to be able to like save it, this is going to be a godsend. That is going to be, you're going to thank me for that. Because if you don't have that, then you will just have to basically restart your entire model, and you wouldn't want that. But yeah, this is how you make a cute little bracelet. Just remember, this also has a shit ton of stuff that it doesn't need. None of these blend shapes are going to be like necessary at all. You can just delete all of them. If you want, just delete all of them. Unless you really want to scuffed shrink shape keys or whatever. But same thing here. All of these vertex groups aren't necessary at all. The only one that you need, I think, hold on, just give me a second. Let me double check that. That would be, that's the left elbow? This one. Yeah, left elbow. So anything above left elbow. So left elbow and left wrist, I think. Yeah, so these are the only two things that should influence this bracelet. Everything else is completely pointless. So let me check here. Left elbow and wrist. So these two. If I do this, delete all unlocks groups. There we go. So now if I do this and I pose this. Oh no, wait, it doesn't. Oh no, wait, because we applied all the modifiers, and that includes the armature modifier. So we simply just have to add that again, like that. And then if we move, there we go. As you can see, it also crunches the what do you call that? Like the bracelet, as if it's part of its body, because that's how it was weight painted, right? So if we don't want that, if we want it to be more static, then we can do the same thing here again. We can click on the skeletal, the armature, shift click on the mesh, go to weight paint mode, and there you go. These are the two things that are influenced by it. But it's a bracelet, right? It shouldn't, in essence, shouldn't really at all be crunching on itself at all, because it is a solid object. So we could just simply smooth that out a little bit. I'm just gonna exaggerate a little bit, about like this. And same thing here, smooth that out, exaggerate it by this. That now it's essentially just one singular color. And now if we move it, let's see, this should still be the same. Yeah, that's still the same. But now if we move it, it's gonna be a lot more static. But because our arms and our hands are not really static, it might end up introducing something like, you know, that, for example. So there's a little bit of a trade-off, and that requires a basically just a whole bunch of trial and error to try to get right. It's not that big of a deal. Usually you can't even put your arm or hand in more than like this orientation anyway. Even in real life, it's kind of hard to do that. So there are limits to how much you should care. I know I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I would spend hours and hours on this if I didn't know any better. So I'm going to not do that this time to save your sanity, because this, like, I'm also, you know, I have to keep you guys in mind. Right, that might be better. So, okay. I'm going to show you something that I use a lot as well. You have the bracelet here, right? Say, for example, I want to sort of smoothen out the edges a little bit. I can do that by Shift-Alt clicking on these edge loops again. And if I want to have sort of a similar bracelet as the original Hopkin, it essentially just has what this has, but just kind of rounded edges like this. And then it will start to look a little bit more like an actual bracelet, you know? Now, it is on a little bit tight, and we already saw that it was clipping a little bit, so I'm just going to Alt-S scale this up a little bit. Or I think, no. I think in this case, just normal scale it. Yeah. And now Alt-S. There we go. You can play around a little bit with both if you want. They give varying results. Some are good, some are bad. Same thing here. If you're gonna edit the base shape here, make sure proportional editing is on, because otherwise it will go from like something like smooth like this to something as sharp as, wait, hold on, something as sharp as like this. You don't want to fuck around with each individual vertex too much. That's a waste of time, in my opinion. But typically I like kind of fiddle around with it a little bit. It doesn't have to be like a 1,000,000% accurate. Like, it could be mostly accurate. I know that for the for the butt on the Flopkin, I spent way too much time fiddling with like each individual vertex to try to get it right. And people like it, so I guess it shows, you know. But yeah, so we have kind of like a rough like bracelet here. Like, if anything, I would probably like make this completely straight and then put it on. I think I could show you that too. It's not going to be in exactly the same position, but it shouldn't matter then. If you want to like straighten this out a little bit, you can do something like this. Or like you turn it upright. Then you select these sides right here. And then you can scale them based on a orientation. So S for scale. I think it's X for, yeah, horizontal, and then 0. And then you force all of these vertices to be in a specific orientation. This could be very helpful if you want to like realign certain things like realign certain like edge loops with a specific orientation. That's what I have used quite a lot in the past as well. And then you can sort of straighten that bracelet out a little bit. Like that. Now, kind of important. In a lot of instances, you won't ever see the inside of the bracelet ever. So all of these faces will basically never be shown. Or most of them won't ever be shown. So, in order to optimize your model a little bit, you can simply just do this. And then it's sort of like a hollow loop. But this will save you, I think, a good, what is this, like 30% or something of all of the polys you would otherwise see here. This could be very, very helpful in the long run. For now, though, it's not necessary at all. And now we can just simply put our bracelet back. Again, this is a very simple shape, and we were probably better off just leaving it where it was. Because now, like, trying to fiddle it on is going to be a little bit awkward. But the wave painting was already very, very static anyway, which shouldn't matter that much. So it should still fit on perfectly fine. And there we go. I made kind of like a bracelet. The one that I have, I think, is way better, though, with the spikes, personally, but I spent also a lot more work on that. And now we have made a bracelet, and I think if we take this, and we move it, and move it with it a little bit. Yeah, okay, I think I have to shove it back a little bit. I think it was way more further back. Pose, clear transform. Okay, so we're gonna move this over here. Then that'll be better. There we go. Now we have a bracelet. Yippee. I should also move with the rest. There we go. That was one of the, I know that one of the first things that I struggled with, because I didn't know that on the mesh itself, you needed to have a armature modifier in order for the bracelet actually to move. So yeah. Very important that you have your armature modifier, otherwise it does not work. You came here for the floppa? Hi Space Cat, hello. Hi Simon. Yeah. Also hi Poggy, hello. Alright, so,
Last question before I go. If I wanted to replace the tail with a different one, will it be possible for it to function as the original?
Yeah, of course. Say, for example, you want to replace the tail. Which I eventually want to do as well. Currently, we don't need this bracelet anymore. Wait, hold on. Just give me a second. What is happening? Okay, there we go. I'm just gonna hide this for now. Okay, so the tail is on a... Oh, whoops. Hold on. Just give me 1 second. I just noticed that this here, the shape key, is off. Let me turn that back on. Tail squish. No, it is on. Okay. Alright, so if I want to replace the tail, you need to go to the edit modes after you select body. You need to highlight the tail. You can use that however you want. You can manually select each pixel if you want. You can swap between selection tools, which I completely forgot. I'm so sorry. But if you want to swap between selection tools, you can press just W. This is the radius selection. You can increase the radius if you want to select more, or you can decrease it like that. I think you can also make it larger and less large in, I think, edit modes or object mode or whatever. I don't remember. Soon is going to be a VOD? Yes, it is. Easiest way that I found it, especially if you know that it's on its own UV, is again, you just hover over it, you press L. And you have a whole bunch of options that appear behind me, like that. Same thing here. And then also the tooth. Don't forget about the tooths. That. That is essentially what the tail is. If you want to replace the tail, you can highlight that. Press P to make a selection, like that. Separate it. Boom. There you go. Now the tail's gone. All you would really have to do is add another tail to this and make sure that this tail is properly weight painted to this one. Most people that end up kit bashing their models together, most people end up having an existing tail, for example, from the Hopkin, like the original Hopkin, right? Which I guess I could try to do. But they will essentially add that tail to this one after they cut it off the other model, and use the original bones, like the original bones for that tail in order to try to add it on. But the old bones will still be on there. So it tends to get a little bit scuffed after a while. You know what I mean? Especially if you have like several different like armatures that are still just kind of roaming there. Because I'm not even showing you all of the different bones I have. But hold on. Oh, is it gonna unhide everything? Oh yeah, it unhid everything. Whoops. Hold on, it's trying to load. Okay, let me disable everything here. Okay, so body. What is this? Is it the bracelet? That's the bracelet. That's the tail. Okay, choker. Sweater, base, outfit. Yeah, but I have a lot of outfits on this, and I still had people complain to me that they still wanted more outfits, and I was like, if I add any more, I think every other creator would just kill me. It already has way more than it needs to. Hey, Uger. Didn't know, forgot hearing. Wait, what? Yeah, so if you want to replace the tail, you have to cut this one off and put a different one on there. This will also mean that the bracelets here won't fit anymore, so you'll have to fit that onto whatever new tail that you want to. But simply, like, I guess I can try to, like, do it with, like, the original Hopkin tail. I suppose, if I can find it. 80 textures. Let's see. Arcane Twilight, is that it? God, it's gonna be a fucking throwback. Yep, there it is. Alright, so we have the original Hopkin here, right? The body. Can I hide this collection? I can. Nice. I don't know what the hell is up with the fucking, like, the material for this thing. It's so weird. I'm gonna do the same thing I did before. Just remove it. New body. Top. Base color. Image texture. Where is it? Is it 80 textures? There we go. Purple. Body. Boom, and then everything except the eyes. Like that. And then assign. There we go. Then the eyes, it's the opposite. Oh, wait, hold on. Not everything. Because the bracelets don't need to be assigned that. Yeah, they have their own bracelets here. I loved these. I don't remember why I got rid of them. It's been a while since I've started working on this, so... Okay, assign. There we go. Now we do the eyes. So we select one of the vertices. Control plus. Then go here. Image texture. Open that again. And now we select the eyes. Boom. Yeah, so not everything is showing up. Like the menus of the stuff that I had wasn't showing up. But I think that's for the that's good because I had a lot of interesting stuff on there. Yeah, so I think this is the original one. So if you want this tail, for example, same thing. You can use the L tool selection. I still find that's the easiest one to use personally. Then select the original tail, which is fucking massive. Then separate it like that. Then we can hide the rest of the body. So this is the mesh of the original. Sorry, this is the armature of the original Hopkin, and this is me. This tail does not fit me anymore. In theory, I don't need anything else except the tail now. So if I would want a tail on there, hold on, let me go to the armature settings here and do in front again. There we go. So I can actually see my bones. So we can just remove everything else. And now we have 2 armatures and 2 tails. Best way to do it is also with a plugin. I use the Cats plugin to combine the armatures together. You don't, I think, technically have to. I think you can technically just do this, right? Yeah, there we go. That works. So you could just control J them and it does the same thing. And now this will also be on here. But you can start to see here now, we have two armatures that are kind of like doing the same fucking thing. That might not be the best, you know? And then because we combined the two, this doesn't... Zenstrok, yo! Thank you for the subs, sweetheart. Hi! Because we combined the two, now the armature won't be recognized anymore. Because the armature got merged into the other one. So if we now select the right one in the armature modifier and move things around, that should move the tail around again. There we go. And that's how you replace the tail. If you want the old Hopkin tail again, for example. Obviously, if you then want to get rid of this one, you can. Like, it is possible. I'm not going to do that, because I like my model. But yeah, that's how you replace the tail. And there you go. It's the same thing with hands and such, you know? Howdy. Hi, King. It becomes a little bit iffier for kid bashing specifically. If you want to like replace the head and stuff, you need to be able to know how to set a bone position as its base pose. And that also requires you to apply an armature modifier in order to have the new pose set as the base pose. And that again requires the SK keeper, because if you don't have the SK keeper, then you won't be able to apply that new base position because of all the blend shapes. So yeah. So another reason why SK keeper is huge. This is so fucking cursed. I'm just going to hold on. Let me double check if I don't. I'm not gonna save that one. Nope. No, thank you. All right. Okay. No, we're good. No penis. All right. We're fine. Yeah. So generally speaking, you guys now have or you guys should now have an idea of what is required to make an avatar work. What is required to make an avatar move. What you need to keep in mind when you are weight painting certain bones. Oh, Dark! Yo, thank you for the sub. SK Keeper is a lifesaver. I'm honestly surprised.
Till next time.
So next time, no worries. So what is required to keep in mind if you want to have a nice transition between two vertex groups? Why blend shapes are a thing, what blend shapes are, what you best use blend shapes for, so like blinking, mouth positions, shrinks, modifiers, etc. The importance of symmetry is very important. The importance of working on the right layer or the right blend shape, also really, really important before you start messing around with the shape. Always check your blend shapes, or whatever blend shape you're working on. And let me think. Like, oh yeah, UV unwrapping. We went over that as well. One thing, actually, one more thing that I'm thinking of. So, how do I best show this? I had something for this earlier. Wait, hold on. Wait, just give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find the other one. Test example? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we had this. So, one more thing. You see how you can very clearly see that this is a very rigid shape, right? But here, it's kind of smooth. Even though it doesn't have that many more polys than this does, this is not rigid, and this is not smooth. Now, how do we make this smooth? There's a couple of ways to do that as well. So we can go here. You can select this object, and say, for example, we want the stop part here to be sharp or be shaded sharp, but the connection between them to be smooth. We can select the edge loops like this, then go to edge, and then mark them as sharp. What that will do is now the lighting will be way sharper than it was before. It might have already been this sharp, just due to the fact that it was a very rigid shape regardless. But now we can select that one. We can right click after we select it, I think. Wait. Oh no, wait. You can just select the object, then right click, then shade smooth. Then everything will be smooth. And it will try to smooth it out as much as possible. But you can kind of see that the lighting doesn't really make much sense. Like it seems like it's still sort of like trying to overcompensate like its rigidness with the shade smooth one now. So we need to recalculate the normals based on their actual, like, I guess, coordinational position, I guess. Wait, is that a word? whatever. Like, we need to recalculate them. So we need to select everything, go to mesh, then go to normals, average, face area. Oh wait, did that do it? I think it did it, yeah. Yeah, there we go. It did it. Okay, it just wasn't obvious. Now the part here, like the connection part, will be shaded smooth. And the top part here will also just be one flat shade. And there you go. It's also very important to keep in mind, if you ever like fuck around with, like you have like certain things like merged together and like your shape is completely different now. It looks like that and this, and then stuff is inverted and it gets like super fucking messy and oh my god, you know, like it doesn't look anything like the original shape anymore. Once you have that down, you just do the same thing again, recalculate, and then it will recalculate the way that the lighting should act with that like new object position, based on, you know, like the orientation and stuff. So on occasions, whenever you're done with that, it's a good idea to recalculate the normals based on their position. You can also recalculate them based on a corner angle, for example. Which does it like slightly differently. Like, I'm not too sure what the differences are. Typically, corner angle gives a slightly better result, in my opinion, than the face does. But in essence, this is how you manipulate how the lighting works on your model. Now, that is very important because that is also what you can do in order to add a whole bunch of extra detail to your model. Now, I'm not going to go over that today, but there are ways to bake the like a high poly mesh. Like, say for example, this was like subdivided by like, I don't know, this much. Like, oh my god, there's so many polys here now, right? And you have like these like ridges in between, like these small little things here and there, and like you know, like you kind of want the effect of this, but in like a lower poly version. What you can do is you can bake how the light behaves around these areas with these like little indents and differences onto the lower poly mesh. And I would show you an example of some that I did recently, but I'm pretty sure I would get banned if I did. Something giant penis, so I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, so there are very, very good ways to do that too. Yeah, in essence, that's what you need to learn. That's what you need to know in order to make a model, or in order to add clothing to a model, or to add things to a model. Yeah. That's pretty much it. If there's any other questions, ask them now, because I think I'm gonna work on my yin a little bit longer, and then probably head in VR. I'm giving you guys 2 minutes for questions. If I don't see anything, I'm just ending. Hey, woo. How do I make a block of cheese? Let's see. Mesh. Let's see, what would be the best for this? Oh yeah, cylinder. Mesh, cylinder, then depth, what, like, let's pick like 0.75, something like that. Boom. Like that. Let's put that on the little table here then, I guess. Then we want to connect these up like that. Then do something like 1, 5. Is that it? Wait, that's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So this one. Connect these. Then delete this. Do the same thing on the opposite side. Connect this, and then connect this. Delete that. Oh, I forgot. One very essential thing. In order to fill this, by the way, just press F. And then it will try to fill it with whatever it can. Boom. And then we can do Wait, can I still? Yeah, okay, I can still select that. Nice. I think I can just now delete this, right? Yeah. Delete. Dissolve edges. Yeah, there we go. Dissolve edges. And that's it. That's roughly how you make a block of cheese. You know? And J, if connecting vertices that already have a face between. Yep, exactly. This one is Seuru. Hi, little Ember. Obviously, this doesn't look 100% up to snuff, but it does the trick, you know? Mark sharp. Gonna do the same thing here. Edge, mark sharp. Like that. Shade smooth. Then select everything, mesh, normals, recalculate, face area. There we go. There we go. Roughly how to make a block of cheese. Yep. And of course, the Blender lesson ended on a cheese on a pedestal. Are there consequences for having shape keys with modified range beyond 0 or 1? As far as I know, not really. Because, okay, so if you have a shape key here, hold on, let me try something. No, wait. Oh, okay, that doesn't matter. Let me just make it yellow while we're at it. Here we go. Okay, so as far as I know, we have a shape key like this. Shape key adds wides. There are ways to unlock it, right? So like it does. There we go. No, wait, what? Did I not work on the right one? I'm confused. Hold on. Should be good, right? Yeah, there we go. I can have wider cheese if you want. Hey, Derek. Perfect as you should. You can make a new mix, so when there will be a copy of it, it goes 0 to 1. A new mix. Yeah, like, I know you can set the max to be, like, 10 or whatever, and then you can, like, keep expanding it more and more, right? If you want to, you can make the cheese really wide. But when you export it, I think it defaults it back to, like, 0. Just 1. So that it just is 1. So if you export it to Unity, I've never seen something with a higher max ever, like, really cause an issue. New from mix. So if you now expand really wide, then make new from mix. New from mix. I have never done that before. Okay, hold on. Let me try that. How do I make a new from mix? Relative to basis. Vertex group. Yep. The arrow. New shape from mix. Never really played around with that, so I have no idea. I don't see any direct consequences, otherwise that it also already getting, like, or really, really wide. Oh, okay, so you can use that as, like, a... Right. So you could, like, combine shape keys together to get a mix of them to then set as a shape key. Okay. What about this? Yo, it's Pac-Man, no way. Yeah, I mean, I can see the application there, but it's not something I think I would want to fuck around with. As far as I know, like, the consequences of it is just more cheese, you know? Funny cheese wheel. Yeah. Yep. that's how you make cheese. I don't think there's any major consequences to exporting that. If you do new from X, it just combines whatever you had. So, yeah. Any other questions? Useful if you have two separate eye blend shapes, you can combine it into one. True. What I usually do in order to achieve that is I just hold on. Let's see. Let me just actually do it on here. So what I do is I go to my blend shapes real quick. Where's it at? Left blink, like that, and then right blink, right? Yeah, okay. So I add a new one. Whoops, I accidentally deleted one. Okay. So I add a new one. Say, for example, I want EP time uwu. Put that at 1 so I can see what the fuck I'm doing. So I just go to vertex, go to blend from shape, and then do left, like that. And then I do deselect everything, and then do the same thing. Vertex, blend from shape, and then I do right. And then that does effectively the same thing that you just did. But now I have a blend shape with both of them. This is another really easy way to make blend shapes. If you ever want to combine stuff, that's how you can also do it. It is more clicks, yes. If you're more used to that one, no harm doing that, you know? It doesn't matter then. What people need to generally be most worried about is just making sure that you work on the correct blend shape. Always make sure that you're on the bases when you're working things. Or if you're going to sculpt, I have found that on occasions, like this is not to like scare you guys, but on occasions, even working on the base blend shape at random, suddenly like some of the stuff that I was doing was not being translated like at all, and I had to basically redo it. So that kind of sucked. So when I get PC, do you have any tips or recommendations I should do for when I get Blender and Unity and stuff? Yes, my general tips is work from a existing model, so you have an example of how things should look and how things should work. I went over everything during the stream of things that are required to make an avatar, like to begin to make an avatar work. So things like, you know, it needs an armature modifier and like the blend shapes and stuff like that. All of that is included in this stream. The VOD will be available right after. This Flare is making Blender tutorial. I hope you upload the stream to YouTube as well. I will do that, yes. Yeah, it's not gonna be like a super like well put together like tutorial, like a very professionally well made. It's just going to be the VOD. I don't really do video editing anymore. I used to. But if you ever do want to look back on the stream or like see what the hell I was yapping about, that's how you can do it. Yeah. Other than that, I think that's it for me. I've been working in Blender almost all day. I still have a little bit of work left to do on the Yin, so I think I'm gonna do that before heading in VR. And yeah. Last chance. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'm just gonna try to find someone to rate. And then tomorrow we can do a regular stream where, like, you know, I just don't, like, yap the entire time. We can do other things. Fans to the stream and tutorials? Yeah, no worries. I hope you guys learned something, you know? Like, I hope you guys got something out of that. I generally still think that Blender is a lot less intimidating than Unity is. A lot of people don't think so. A lot of people are very intimidated by Blender. But generally speaking, it's very approachable for what you need to know. Sorry, for what you need to actually only have in order to get something to use. But that it's kind of like an easy entry, but hard mastery kind of thing, you know? Blender is fun, still don't know shit how to use it. but I'm able to make stuff, whatever functional or not, is up to questioning. Yeah. I went over everything today. So if you ever do have any questions, but I feel like if you are already comfortable enough with Blender, then I think you're gonna know a lot of it already. So, I never really had the opportunity to do this yet, but one of my mods and one of my great friends is live right now. I'm gonna send you guys over to Snappy. I love Snappy. She's been a great friend. We all love Snappy. I'm gonna praise her a little bit. She's playing Phasmophobia. She has never ever had, I think, this amount of people ever in her chat. So I feel like this is gonna be a big job up for her. Something, I don't know. Let's do Floppa invasion or something. There we go. We're gonna invade the Snappy with the Floppa. Copy paste the message and let's go raid Snappy. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you guys learned something today. I will be uploading this VOD to YouTube. It'll be available on Twitch for as long as that will fucking last, because you never know with Twitch. And yeah, thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna work a little bit more on my yin model, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Have fun.